You're watching ongoing coverage of Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, coming to you live here from the RDS at the Simmons Court Pavilion, with lots of more people to meet between now and 5 o'clock this evening here on the programme. But we're going to go back out to Laura, who's at the Fairco stand.
Ireland's first burglar-proof doors and windows, that's what is on offer here at Fairco. Martin, hello, how are you?
Hi Laura, how are you doing?
Talk me through what's unique about this product.
Well, what's unique about this product is we have Ireland's first burglar-proof window.
And how so?
Well, it's basically got a, we've been developing this product for the last sort of 16 to 18 months. We're launching it here at the Ideal Home Show. We're giving it a €3,000 insurance-backed guarantee that the window can't be broken into.
Okay, so we might just go over to one of the doors and you could show me what exactly is different about this one.
Okay. Well, what we have here is we have a door, a French door, that basically what you have is you've got your locking system, you've got your hinge claws here and here.
Okay.
So they're protecting for anybody trying to break in from the hinge side. And on the locking side, you have a combination of bi-directional hook locks, chute bolts top and bottom, and you've got a burglar-proof barrel, which it can't be picked, bumped, snapped or drilled, so it's impossible to get through through the barrel of the door.
And you say this is obviously in the pipeline for 12 to 18 months, so obviously a lot of work and effort technically has gone into this.
Very much so, yeah. A lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of research and development. But listen, this is what people want, you know. Every person that's coming in, we've been in business a long time, and everybody that comes in, one of the key things with them is security, and they're looking for as much security as we can. It's past 23, so it's independently certified with past 23 and past 24. It's also got secure by design, which is a police preferred specification, recognised by forces throughout Europe as well as the guards here. So it really is a fantastic system, and that's really what people want, is a bit of peace of mind.
Absolutely, they want security, but aesthetics are obviously important as well, and these look absolutely fabulous. There's a range. Take us through the range here. I mean, there's something very different over there I see in timber.
Yeah, well, what you have here is, again, from an aesthetic point of view, that was very important to us as well, is really to get the look of the thing right. So it's a fully moulded and fully sculptured profile, so obviously we're trying to replicate timber as much as we can in PVC. You can see behind me here, you have a window system again with a rosewood finish, and if you want to pop round this way as well.
This is PVC as well, is it?
This is all PVC. So you have a light oak finish here as well. So again, just trying to pick up the detail of the timber with the fully moulded sculptured profile, and we've tried to get a real grain finish to it as well. So you have the knot detail in the window again. So a lot of people are looking at that and they're coming up and they're actually having to touch it and feel it to see that it is, in fact, you know, they assume it is timber, so they have to.
You absolutely would. You'd do a double take there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you really would.
Do you want to take me around to one of the front doors I saw around the other side? It's timber, I believe, is it?
Yeah. We have we do aluminium, aluclad, and timber as well. This is one of our timber doors. Again, it's made of Akoya timber, so it's basically a timber that really will never ever rot. It's tested underwater. It's just, you know, timber has a terrible issue with expanding and contracting in the cold and the wet, so that's not going to do that. And the paint on it is guaranteed for 10 years as well. So again, it won't blister or lift underneath it.
And the new technology is installed in these doors, I believe, as well?
No, this is the timber range. It's only on the PVC range, which is the 10-year guarantee. So it's a €3,000 insurance-backed guarantee. So first of all, you've got an immediate 24-hour call-out, because they're not going to break into it, but they're going to damage it beyond repair, because obviously, you know, they can't force the sash open or the sash away from the outer frame. So, but in trying to do that, they're going to damage the window. So first of all, we have a number that you can ring, and it's a 24-hour call out. They come out to you and they make your house safe and secure. Secondly, then we have up to €1,000 against your excess on your house, on your insurance. Thirdly, then we give you €1,000 towards the cost of replacing the product, which should cover it. And then the third thing is then you get €1,000 inconvenience money for all the trouble that's
very generous of you altogether.
So yeah, it's great. It's very, very good. Yes.
In terms of instalment, then.
Well, you order these windows. We're doing a fantastic offer for the show, and then to introduce the product is we're doing 35% off for anybody that comes to the show and makes an appointment for us to go out, and we sell them windows and doors that are fitted before Christmas. So we can fit before Christmas, and we're giving 35% off.
Thank you very much. You're so good to chat to us. It looks fantastic, and I wish you every success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our reporter there, Laura Butler, out here at the RDS talking to some of the many exhibitors who are having their wares on display for the milling crowds that are filling this place and have been doing so since 10 o'clock this morning. You're watching ongoing coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Homes exhibition, coming to you live from the RDS. We're with you until 5 o'clock this evening. Lots more people to talk to. Of course, if you do live in a modern home and you're a busy individual and you've got some spare cash, coming home at 6 in the evening and having to maybe tidy the house or clean dishes or make beds or whatever are the normal chores involved in running a house may not be your cup of tea, but if you have a few quid to spare, well, there may be a company that can do all that hassle, if you like, that you don't want to face after a long day's work, and one such company is Hassle.com, and I'm joined by Penny Roberts. Now, as I was saying, that some people don't want the hassle, if that's the appropriate word with you people, when they come home from work and they don't want to tidy up, they don't want to wash dishes and so on, and you do it. So what exactly does Hassle.com do?
So Hassle.com is a young business. It's taken cleaning and brought it online. So we're a tech startup and we're helping busy people like yourselves find local cleaners in their area. So we basically source and supply of cleaners. We vet and interview these guys. We know that they're experienced professionals, and through our site people can come on, put their postcode and put their cleaning requirements, and then we connect you with cleaners. So we show you the profile and reviews of cleaners in your area. You can say what you'd like to have cleaned and you send your request out to them, and the cleaner can say yes or no. Hopefully you make a match, a bit like Match.com, but for your home and cleaning, and we introduce you.
So you're effectively providing maids, for the want of a better description, are you?
So we're helping people find that local cleaner in the area. Like previously it was really difficult for people to find that service provider. You either went on Gumtree or word of mouth, and often there's that kind of uncertainty about who that person would be turning up at your front door. And what we've done is we've brought that offline market online, and we've created a market based on trust. So we go and find those providers. We know that they're experienced individuals, and we help you find that person that's going to take the hassle out of your life and everyday kind of busy lives.
So if somebody in a locality makes themselves available, or they say to you, yeah, I can clean houses in Clonmel, or I can clean houses in Portmarnock, wherever, do you have to vet these individuals to make sure that they're not using you as an excuse to get into someone's house and, dare I say it, engage in theft?
So for us it's really, really important that all of our service providers on our site go through a really rigorous recruitment process. So we speak to them all, we meet them all face to face, we get references and we do a background check on them to make sure that they are an experienced cleaning professional, and we create that profile for them, and we continually get new reviews and feedback from customers that use the service to make sure that we have the best quality cleaners on our site.
And if somebody wants to, if you like, hire in a cleaner or a maid, whatever, to do what has to be done, of course the question comes up about fees. How do the fees work?
So when you sign up on our site, we ask for initial deposit. So it's €12 an hour is the flat rate that we charge on the site, and the cleaner gets €10 an hour. So it's a really fair wage for the cleaner. The deposit is just 1 hour's worth of cleaning, and then once the clean's finished, the cleaner confirms, they log onto the app and say, yep, I did that clean for Ken today. And then we charge the customer's card. So everything's done online, there's no cash. So it's simple for the customer and it's simple for the cleaner as well.
And do you find that you have a big interest in one locality and you can't get cleaners in another?
So supply and demand for us obviously is really, really important, and we're a supply-driven marketplace, so we source the cleaners before we find the customers. So when we started, we launched in Dublin back in July, and since then we've gradually expanded the service out into County Dublin, and we're going to continue to expand. So for us, we find the supply first, and then we open up the marketplace for customers in that area.
And is this a relatively new service, if you like, in
Yeah,
Ireland.
so it is. The company started in the UK. So there's three founders, and one, Jules, is from Leixlip in Ireland. So we started in the UK. The three guys came up with the idea for the company because one was looking for a gardener and one was looking for a piano teacher, and they just couldn't find anyone in their local area. So like, hang on a second, we should be able to go online. There should be a site where we can find that local service provider. And so what they did is they quit their jobs as management consultants and they set up this new business. And so what happened was they set up the business in the UK, and we've been going as hassle.com in London since last January, and we launched in Dublin in July this year. And for us, Dublin was really important to launch. One of the founders is Irish, so she wanted to bring the service home, but also there's a large number of early adopters that like new kind of tech companies and tech startups in Dublin, so we wanted to bring the service to Ireland.
How does this service operate in other countries? I mean, is it the in thing in England or America? I've seen something similar in New York and so on.
So we do have quite a few competitors, but actually that's what's so great about the service is actually competition means that there is a valid service and there's a market there for people that are interested in it. So in London, we were the first startup to get a significant kind of Series A funding. So we really are kind of the market leader in the UK, and we're expanding across different countries. So we've also recently launched in Paris this week as well. So we would say we're one of the largest European providers of this kind of market-based service.
Finally, if people want to get in touch, is it all online, or do they ring you and you can determine if there is a demand for cleaners in a particular area?
So we recommend that people check out our app online. So you go there, you put in your area code, and then we show you whether we've got a service in that area. If there's any questions, you can email us, you can call us, but we'd recommend going on the site to check out the service first off.
Okay. Well, look, Penny Roberts, thank you very much indeed for joining us from hassle.com.
Thank you.
So if you want your house cleaned and you've got some extra cash that you will have no difficulty parting with, get in touch with hassle.com. You're watching ongoing coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, coming to you live here from the RDS this Saturday afternoon. We're with you until 5 o'clock this evening. This show is, of course, continuing tomorrow Sunday, and indeed on Bank Holiday Monday as well. We're going to go back out to the floor right now, and I do believe Laura is with people from EcoFlex.
So I'm going to talk to John Freeman now. He is of EcoFlex Energy. John, hi, how are you? I'm very well. Talk us through what you do. You are doing something revolutionary here.
We are, yeah. We are the master installer for the surface-powered daylight thermal energy system. And what that is made up of is a series of daylight thermal panels for your roof, and they extract a large amount of the available energy, the free available energy in daylight, and they will feed that directly into your central heating or hot water system.
I have never heard of daylight energy saving.
No, it's a revolutionary concept based on nanomechanics, and
it's different to solar power.
It is totally different to solar. We try and differentiate ourselves totally from solar. Solar is just for hot water heating only. Daylight thermal energy will provide a large amount of your central heating and hot water requirements. And what it does is it becomes your primary heat source in your home, and your oil or your gas will then become your secondary heat source to back up the daylight thermal energy system. And we have proven case studies where customers have saved up to 82% of their central heating bills per annum.
Very substantial. Who's the creator of this?
The manufacturer is a company called Surface Power. The creator is an entrepreneur called John Quinn from Castlebar in County Mayo. And John Quinn has come up with this system, and as of now it's unmatched anywhere in the world in regards to daylight thermal energy.
And are you offering any special offers or discounts for customers here this weekend?
We are, yeah. We have a special offer for customers that come and agree for us to take a follow-up call to discuss their energy requirements with them and maybe provide them a free quotation for the system. We're entering those in a free draw for a weekend away at the Radisson Hotel, and we hope that we get plenty of feedback on it.
Sure, you get plenty of business, John. Thank you so much for chatting to me. So we are going to head now down another direction. If you just follow me down here, we're going down to DPM Construction. They're another energy-saving business operating here at the Ideal Home Show in the RDS this weekend. It's a bit of a long walk, but it's okay. We're stretching our legs and having a view. Lots of families here obviously taking in the action this weekend. It's Going to get busier and busier, folks. So wear your walking shoes, that's for sure. Circuit Design here on the right. They're doing something revolutionary also. We got to speak with them a little bit earlier. Now I'm really hoping I can find this place. Ah, here we are, just this way. There's so much option and choice here for people this weekend. Truly, it's actually like a gold mine. It's like Disneyland for adults. Hi there, Andrew, how are you? I'm going to come around this side if you don't mind. So, tell me a little bit about DPM Construction. You have a very holistic approach, I believe.
Yeah, DPM Construction, what we do here is we come out to your house, we take the whole package, and what we like to do is we like to call it the energy efficient menu. So it might be solar panels, it might be PV panels, insulation, windows or boilers or high efficiency stoves. We take your house and we break it all down for you, and we tell you where is best to put your money and break it down that way.
So if I came to you and said, I don't really know what I want or need, that's why you're here, you're coming out to show me and to tell me.
Exactly, we're the professionals, we're going to break it down for you. We break it down on paper for you and say, look, it's best to put your money into this area, and this is going to be the quickest rate of return for you. So, you know, you might necessarily come in looking for photovoltaic solar panels with us, but your installation mightn't be up to scratch. So we're going to come out and we're going to measure the installation for you, spec the installation for you, spec the windows for you, and then take it from there and improve the energy efficient rating.
What do we have here?
We have, let's say once we've our installation done and our windows and all the correct items like this, this is the latest in daylight thermal technology. So when we want to either heat the hot water in your home or put central heating systems in and heat your house completely from solar energy, we can do that for you. So this is just one of the panels that we would put up on your roof, and depending on the occupancy level or the application that we're going to do, we're either going to put up 2 panels or 4 panels or 3 panels on the bottom that you see there. And your savings, typically we're going to be providing around 70% of your hot water and saving on average about 700 to 800 euros a year. And fantastic system. There are grants available at the moment through the SEI of 800 euros on top of that, and there's also the Home Renovation Initiative, which is between 5 to 30,000. You get your tax credit back over the next 2 years. You know, it's a complete no-brainer, to be honest with you. If you have kids or high usage of hot water, it's excellent. It does exactly what it says, to be honest with you.
And I noticed down here there's a 10% show discount as well.
Yeah, we have a 10% show discount if you meet us on our stand. We're at stand 080, and that's for the show. If you book a survey in with us, we'll come out, measure it all up, and you can avail the 10% show discount.
And you operate nationwide?
We operate completely nationwide at this point. We're based from the Midlands, so we can commute anywhere, to be honest with you. It's great.
Andrew, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Lovely to meet you. And we'll throw back.
That's Laura Butler, our reporter there at the Energy Network stand here at the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show. We're coming to you live from the RDS here in Dublin. There's something like 230 exhibitors here, so it takes a bit of work to put it all together. And the man responsible for it all is sitting here on my left-hand side. He comes from a very famous Irish family indeed. And I'm delighted to welcome Sean Lemass of SDL Exhibitions. Sean, how important, first of all, is an event like this to showcase what's happening in the whole area of home improvement?
Well, of course, it's very important or very useful for people who are planning a home improvement. A lot of people have put off work through the recession, and they're now thinking about the furniture had nothing done to it for 10 years, or the kitchen is in a state of shatters. So they can come down here to the show and see a wide range of options from different suppliers, all competing for their business. So they can just check out the market, decide what way they're going, what's priority to them, or they can get advice about building an extension from the architects, or they can listen to advice about energy saving or interior design, depending on what it is their particular interest is.
Sure, this is a 3-day event, so it's all happening over the space.
4 days.
Sorry, my apologies. Friday to Monday, my apologies. But, you know, when do you start preparing to put a show like this together?
Well, I'd say we'd start preparing for next year's show next Wednesday.
Right.
We might take Tuesday off. Well, we'll have to get the show out of here, and then within the week we will be back out launching the 2 events for next year, the spring and the autumn Ideal Home Show.
Right. And is it the same exhibitors all the time, or are you sort of doing the sales pitch at particular companies, trying to persuade them to come here and persuade them of the benefits of coming here?
Well, of course, it's just like any medium or any media, from a trade magazine to a TV station. You've got to have your exhibitors who are, if you like, the advertising in the event. And then we put in the editorial with the seminars, the free advice, the demonstrations from Woody's DIY demos, the show house to give people inspiration and ideas for what they want to do. So you've got to combine the editorial and the advertising. And of course, like most commercial operations, we spend most of our time actually putting the show together by selling the stands to a balanced range of content.
And have you noticed, Sean, that, you know, back in maybe 2009, 2010, it was difficult to get exhibitors to come into a show like this simply because they were financially stretched?
Well, I mean, the whole market shrunk, and of course a lot of them aren't here anymore. The show, I would say, from the peak in 2008, dropped, I would say, by half in size and content, and some exhibitors took smaller stands and some couldn't exhibit at all, and the business for them wasn't as strong. But fortunately, the Ideal Home Show was big enough that even at half the size, it was still a big show with 200 exhibitors or thereabouts, and still worth going to. And we just changed the focus, that people were buying different things. It suddenly became home extensions was the big driver. We realized that any street you drove down in Dublin, people were building extensions because there was no trading going on in houses, people couldn't get finance to move, they were maybe on a tracker mortgage that they didn't want to give up, so they're building extensions. And those homeowners are coming into this show with a budget, maybe 20, maybe 50, maybe 100,000 euro. They need kitchens and bathrooms and furniture and insulation and heating and all the things that are in the show here. So we just targeted it a little bit differently.
You must have seen some extraordinary changes doing a show like this down through the years. What are they like?
Well, the change now is back to more the way it was, whereas 2 or 3 years ago, people were like, they were still spend, but they wanted to add value to their house. So if they were going to spend 10,000 on replacing their windows and doors, they felt it was adding to the value of their home. They were spending less on furniture and kitchens and things that they could do with that wouldn't add value in the same way. But that's changed back now. The interior decor, there's many stands here that are really specialists in interior decor, on soft furnishings, and they may not add a lot of value to your house, but they're adding to your home, your comfort, your well-being, your lifestyle. People are back in that market now, as well as in full renovations and extensions and self-builds and moving home. Of course, originally it was people were moving homes. When you move house, you need new furniture, you need carpets, you need all that sort of thing. So it's coming back around full cycle again now.
Yeah, traditionally at these shows, like everything from new kitchens to new sofas to new windows were the sort of the hot thing of the moment. But
sure.
The buzzwords now are energy efficiency. You must have seen a huge increase in the number of companies who can offer energy efficiency in terms of heat retention and draft exclusion.
All that, yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think 3 years ago, we had 40% of the visitors said that their main reason for coming was to reduce their energy costs. But that's down now. Now they're looking for more esoteric lifestyle, home improvement ideas, as well as the energy. I mean, there's still a lot of energy and insulation exhibitors here, from Waterford Stanley doing solid fuel with the support of Bord Namona to the spray foam installation people, to the doors and windows like vendor here that beside us who but you need, particularly too, if you're going to sell your home, you must now get a BER rating. And the BER rating will depend a lot on how leaky your house is in terms of
heat retention.
Heat retention,
yeah, exactly. Do you go to other shows in Britain or elsewhere to pick up ideas?
We do. We would go to Grand Design in the UK and to the Ideal Home Show in the UK, and we would see what's going on there. In fact, they were here yesterday. The organisers from Grand Design and Ideal Home Show in the UK Media 10, who we know and have good relations with, they were here at our show and rated very highly.
Right, and would they themselves be picking up ideas from you?
I'm sure they do.
But I suppose all these shows, they're all more or less selling the same stuff.
Well, you know, but when you're an exhibition organizer, it's not just about what's on the stand. You've got to understand the marketing behind it. And we've built up the marketing campaign behind this show. We now have over 90,000 permission emails. So when we started the advertising for the show a few weeks ago, first thing we did was we sent out an email to our 90,000 previous registered visitors within 2 days, we had 26,000 people all registered for 2 tickets each for our ticket, our free and discount ticket offer. So at least a quarter of our visitors will come from one email because we've done the homework.
Yeah.
And we understand how important database marketing is as part of it.
Yeah, let me ask you this question, and you'll see where I'm leading with this. The weekend that's in it, it's a bank holiday weekend in October. Mm-hmm. Is that determined by other factors, or is that your choice? And I asked that for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we started running this show, which was actually 20 years ago this year, the October bank holiday had just been introduced. So suddenly there was a new long weekend in the year, and a weekend in which people didn't have a tradition of going away. And it's winter really. It's between back to school and Christmas. So from a budget point of view, we're over the back to school expense, and we haven't hit the Christmas. Yeah. And people are also getting their homes into shape for Christmas, because we all have visitors at Christmas and we're looking at our home.
No, but the reason why I asked that question was I would have thought that if you were doing a show like this, sometime around Easter or May is an ideal time, because with long evenings, better weather, people are painting their houses, they're spring cleaning.
Well, we now have a Spring Ideal Home Show. The last 4 or 5 years we've been running the show in April as well, and it's now rivaling the autumn one, which is the flagship, if you like. It's rivaling it in terms of size. It's a 3-day event because it's not a bank holiday. But some of the exhibitors are now asking us to open on Thursday rather than Friday and extend the number of days, which originally we ran it as 5 days, Thursday to bank holiday Monday. So we may well go back to that now that things are getting a bit stronger and the demand is there.
Yeah. Based on your experience of doing shows in the past and the recession and so on, do you yourself sense, things are picking up? That, there's a new confidence about the place?
We can all feel it, but I can give you the statistics. The Spring Ideal Home Show turnover was up 50% on the previous year. This show behind us here, the Spring Show was smaller, so it was from a lower base. But this event here, over this date last year, is up 30%, which is excellent. It's significant growth. I mean, to see that in any area of businesses, you can feel it, but you can see the numbers too.
Yeah, and from talking to people around the place, are they telling you, you know what, I'm doing more turnover now than I was, we'll say, 2 years ago?
Look, it comes to the point where we have exhibitors who are telling us now that, sorry, they can't take a stand at the exhibition because they're too busy. They can't deal with any more orders. Yeah. And we had that before in the boom, and we're getting back to that now. So we still have to fight for every stand.
Yeah, the show is very Dublin-centric for obvious and convenience reasons, but do you have any plans to take it to Cork or Limerick or?
Well, there's no real venue in Cork or Limerick. The biggest venue would only be maybe a tenth of what we have here in terms of size. Silver Springs in Cork, 1,200 square metres, we have 12,000 square metres in Simmons Court. There's nothing in Limerick, Galway, there are no venues. So while you could on a smaller scale, but we're getting about 30% of the visitors from outside Dublin, so it's not a big deal anymore with the motorway to pop up to Dublin from Limerick, Cork, Galway. You don't mind coming up and down in the day anymore since we have the decent roads.
Yeah. Across Europe, shows like this take place all the time. In terms of scale, how does the Dublin one compare with other ones?
Well, I mean, we're a nation of 4.5 million people, 1.2 in Dublin, so it's proportional. And it would be, if you take a big show of like this nature in London, it might be 10 times the size and 10 times the number of visitors.
Yeah. 5
to 10 times. And that will be a normal rule of thumb across any sector for which you might have an event.
Yeah, sure. Have you reached a stage where people are queuing up to get in and you're having to say, well, look, we're a bit full, try us again next year?
In terms of exhibitors or visitors, in terms of exhibitors, we've only a small amount of space that we didn't utilise this time. I'm sure we'll utilise it next year, and that will be it. Then we'll have to manage that situation. In terms of the visitors, last year our ticket offer different ticket offers overlapped on the Saturday to some extent, and we had too many people on the Saturday. We had 12,000 people through on the Saturday, and the traffic in the area, with other events going on in the RDS, the traffic came to a standstill around this whole part of Dublin. So we've managed that this year to try and move some of those ticket offers so that people can come on Monday when it won't be so busy, when there aren't as many events on in the RDS, and to try and if you like, manage the attendance more evenly over the 4 days.
Next year, is it basically going to be the same exhibitors, or do you know at this stage how next year is shaping up?
Well, we have many of our sponsors have already indicated that they would be back with us, and we have a new sponsor involved in Harvey Norman, who you know, one of the biggest retailers in the world, is going to sponsor the show house in the spring. We've DFS sponsoring the autumn here, as you know. We have Woodies have indicated their interest in returning, and Colour Trend Paints have said they definitely would want to continue with the Colour Trend Interior Design Forum, where we have 7 top Irish interior designers there just to show people their ideas on a room set and talk to them one-to-one, give them advice, answer questions, look at photographs, and put that editorial, as I was saying, into the event.
Very good. Okay, Sean Lemass of SDL Exhibitions. I'm going to have to leave it there. The clock is beating us. That's Sean Lemass there of SDL Exhibitions. They are the chief organisers of the Ideal Homes exhibition here, brought to you by Permenant TSB. You're watching this on idealhomes.ie and indeed on catchexpo.com. Lots more people to meet between now and 5 o'clock. We're going to nip out now to one of the theatres here in the building, where I do believe there's a presentation going on in the area of water conservation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ideal Homes exhibition. We're here today to have a brief discussion about water conservation and opportunities for saving water. We all, of course, are dealing with the dreaded water meter issue right now, so it's a topic that's fairly on everybody's agenda. My name is Peter Vallely. I represent a company called Rainwater Station, and we offer consumers and householders an opportunity to install rainwater harvesting systems that can substitute your mains and can reduce quite radically the amount of water used in the same systems. So we're going to cover a couple of topics this morning, or this afternoon rather. We're going to look at a couple of very simple household housekeeping options. A couple of ways to save very simply. Ways that you can save quite big, and for those who are into gardening, ways that you can essentially still enjoy your garden without having to worry too greatly about your meter costs. We'll take a quick look at Irish water and some of the challenges there, and the challenges being faced by the Irish water infrastructure system in general. Okay, so what can you do from the very simplest point of view? Essentially, the first thing you would need to do is to check your taps and your pipes for leaks. These are things that can be done very cost effectively rather. Something as simple as a replacement rubber washer in a tap could save you 50 litres a day from a leaking tap. Don't use your toilets unnecessarily. Your toilets are using between 12 and 19 litres of water, so don't use it to flush down a Kleenex or any family members. Another thing you can do is to check your water meter. Water meter's installed. Check the actual reading on your meter. Don't turn on any water for 2 hours and go back and check it again. If the meter has moved, you've got a leak somewhere and it needs to be attended to quite quickly because you'll be paying for it. We're here on behalf of Rainwater Station, so obviously we would advocate the investigation or installation of a rainwater harvesting system, which basically means you can gather a free resource of natural rainwater, which once filtered can be pumped up into your attic tank and can be used for all of the appliances in your home: washing machine, dishwasher, taps, sinks, bath, showers, etc. You can also look at putting in low flow shower heads rather. These use a combination of air and water. They will reduce the kind of per minute litre rate from about 19 to 38 litres down to about 9.5 litres, and they're not that expensive to install, and they can be installed by the average DIYer. But essentially you'll get the same effect as a power shower without the cost. A very, very simple method is to put these small little booster bottles into your cistern. Essentially they reduce the amount of water your cistern uses, and again you can be getting down from approximately 18 litres to about 4.5 litres per flush. There are other simple steps you can use. Essentially, don't use your washing machine or dishwasher unless they're full. Washing machines are particularly heavy on water. and you will use approximately 27,000 litres a year if you use your washing machine once a day. By not using the likes of the permanent press cycles, you can save roughly 20 litres per wash. If you're going to buy new appliances, go for the energy rated washing machines, which use about 35% less energy and about 50% less water. A very simple thing to do is to insulate your water pipes. Not only will you save money on what it costs to actually heat the water, but you'll save water as well. When brushing your teeth, don't leave the tap running, particularly where kids are concerned. 4 or 5 minutes of running tap in a child's eyes means very little, but in the water meter environment we're moving into, it'll be quite costly. Fill up a glass, use that to rinse. And keep bottles of water in the fridge, so every time the kids come in for a drink, rather than turning on the tap, they use the bottled water that's in the fridge. What you're looking at here is an opportunity to save quite a lot of money on your household straight away if you look at a descaling proposition. What you have here is 2 heating elements. One of them is in an area with heavy limescale. And in Ireland that could be Wicklow, Kildare, Meath, not necessarily so much in Dublin, but certainly from Meath right across the west of Ireland, limescale is a particular problem. And what that basically means is that you're having to heat the limescale before the element gets to heat the water. So in addition to causing extra stress on the element and the need to replace it more often, you're using a damn sight more energy to heat the water than you necessarily need to. Limescale means that, and anybody living in Kildare or Meath will tell you, they change their kettles every few months, they're changing their shower elements, they're changing their heater elements, and they're changing washing machines and dishwashers far more regularly than anybody else is. Now, by descaling your property and installing a rainwater harvesting system, for argument's sake, you can radically reduce the cost of running these appliances. Gardening water, watering your gardening and looking after your garden, it's something that we've kind of taken for granted up to now. It's very therapeutic, it's a nice way to spend your time, and your garden looks good. But it's going to become something of a luxury because, again, unless you're going to put water butts at the bottom of your gutters, which is a very feasible thing to do for watering your garden, there are a number of other things we can do, which is effectively to put in drought-free lawns or basically plants that are happy to work with less water. Essentially the kind of plants we're talking about here, I have a note of it here, and I have to just check this myself. Put in perennial borders. Not only do they use less water, but they're also less likely to suffer from disease. They're local national plants and that sort of thing. Use mulching in your garden. If you put in organic matter as a mulch within the plant area, you essentially reduce the evaporation of water, and you allow the water that's in there to give longer lifetime to the plants. If you are using sprinklers, don't sprinkle the deck, the pathways, and the downpipes, but direct it into the grass. If you are watering your lawns, don't do it the whole time. A lawn will manage on about 1 inch of water per week in normal conditions. But if you are going to water it, give it a good dousing once per week, down to about 3 inches. That way you get down into the root network, you're not losing too much in evaporation. When you're washing your car, an average car wash can use 560 litres. So if you are washing your car, use a bucket of soapy water and just use the hose to rinse it off. And use one of those sprinkler type hoses as well. So if we take a look at what the average family is actually likely to use, okay, and these are figures that we've worked at and we've looked at, but they're also figures that are widely available online. We're going to get an allowance of 30,000 litres, and if you've under 18s, you're going to get an allowance of 21,000 litres per child. Sounds like quite a lot of water. Except for the fact that your washing machine, if you use it once a day, uses 27,000 litres. They're very, very heavy on water. A power shower will use 16 litres per minute on average. So an average 6-minute shower with 4 adults in the house, you can be talking about 140,000 litres of water per year. And that's before you consider the cost of those showers. Guys with haircuts like mine, not such a big deal, but ladies with nice hair, it's going to take a bit longer than 6 minutes, so take that into consideration as well. Dishwasher is not as bad as you might think because it washes, rinses using the same water. The bath uses about 25,000 litres a year. And we talked about the toilets earlier. But in essence, you've got 253,000 litres would not be beyond the realms of possibility for an average family of 4. It sounds like a colossal amount of water, but it's actually, it's very, very usable. Money Guide Ireland have published some figures around this as well. This is an independent group. And what they've determined is that if a family of 4 uses about 129,000, they're considered low usage. They can expect to pay an average of €486 per year for their water charges. If you move that up forward to a high usage family, which they consider 202,000, based on our own calculations, that's closer to 250,000. But there's 841 euros is likely to be your average water charges. Now we've done a lot of kind of research and digging around about this thing. This whole 200 and 300 euro stuff for water charges, I think we can all agree that based on the past here, this is to really just get us all to accept what's going on. But the reality is going to be far different. Nobody's going to be paying 200 or 300 euros a year. Perhaps they will this year and perhaps in 2015 while they get their show on the road. But after 2016, these are the kind of numbers that will not be unreasonable to expect. And part of the reason for the necessity to charge these kind of levels is that there's a 10 billion euro upgrade required to bring Irish Water's network or our infrastructure up to a first world standard. And this is an Oireachtas committee report that was determined by Irish Water. The infrastructure as it stands at the moment is not fit for purpose. We're losing 40% of the water that's actually being treated is getting lost through leaky pipes. Added to that is the 25% of the waste treatment plants that are not meeting EU standards, and the fact that the existing water treatment plants are being asked to perform beyond their engineered capacity. So when they talk about a 40% design capacity overstretch, it's like filling a transit van with 40% more weight than it was designed to carry and tearing it up and down the country roads day and night and expecting the gearbox to work, the wheels not to fall off the damn thing, the engine not to give trouble. That's what we're asking of the water system here at the moment. And of course you've got people out in the west of Ireland who are in a much worse position to us because essentially they're being asked to pay for something that's not fit for consumption. 19,000 of them are on boil water notice because the water is just not fit for human consumption. But let's assume for a minute that we all get on board with the idea that we're going to be paying for water and they're going to use all of this investment to upgrade our infrastructure. One of the things that is proposed is to divert the Shannon up to Dublin here to facilitate the requirements of the Dublin area. That programme has started already, started in January of this year. That's on the way. And despite the objections of the good people of Clare, Tipperary and Galway, we are going to be using Shannon water in the near future. These are some of the proposed upgrade works. I won't go through them all, but as you can see there, these are the kind of numbers that are involved. But one that really jumped out at us was the water meter installation. The estimate originally was 500 million for the water meter installation charges. That has now gone up to 1.5 billion. So this was the first project that Irish Water and the associated bodies were responsible for, and they're already 3 times over what they estimated. It's not fair to assume that if they're going to say, well, it's going to be 250 euros a year for your water, if they get that wrong by a 3-fold calculation, there you're getting close to your 750 again. Essentially, I think we all know who's going to pay for all of this. We did a quick calculation on the figures here, and if we consider that the planned upgrade of 10 billion is due to kick off at 2016 with proposed conclusion in 2022. That's essentially 7 years, 6 or 7 years to upgrade the system. They need 10 billion over 7 years. There's 1.8 million householders technically that will pay for this. If you take that calculation, 10 billion divided by 1.8 million, we came up with a figure of 793 euros. There's that elusive 700 odd figure pops up again and again and again. So they may decide, well, okay, the Irish people have decided enough is enough, we're not paying for water, so let's privatise it. Well, if they privatise it, we're going to follow the UK model. And what they basically experienced was 50% increases in their water charges in the first 4 years, followed by now 1 in 5 British families being behind with their water bills. So it's essentially not good news. Those of us that are a little bit more resourceful might be able to get around these problems, but the vast majority of us are going to be relying on the infrastructure. And that's part of the reason myself and my colleague Kieran decided to look at rainwater harvesting as a viable proposition. This is one of the very, very rare countries in Europe where rainwater is absolutely plentiful and it's clean. By comparison to the rainwater that falls in most of Europe, our rainwater is very, very clean. We've plenty of it, so we're not going to worry about running out of it. It's lime-free, it's soft, it's pure, and in addition to basically collecting rainwater, the fact that it's not going in through your meter means that the people that are looking to charge you don't have any idea about how much you've collected in your rainwater harvesting system. They're basing the waste charges on what comes into your house. So if it doesn't come in, they can't charge you for taking it out. And I got to tell you, you don't look at rainy days in the same way again once you put one of these systems in. That's basically what it looks like. It looks like a garden shed down the side of your house, collects your rainwater, filters it, sends it up into your attic, and basically you use it for every appliance in the house. You maintain the mains for drinking water, but you use your rainwater harvesting for everything else. Doesn't require any heavy duty damage to your house, no floors need to be lifted. It's a very, very simple system. It's also something that will be probably more evident from 2015 onwards. From next year, there's proposed legislation in place for every new house, every new apartment and every new school to install a rainwater harvesting system. And while Irish Water don't want you to have a rainwater harvesting system because you're going to take revenue out of their pocket, the Department of the Environment are pushing hard to have them installed. Because Ireland is basically positioning itself as a favourable location for information technology companies and pharmaceutical companies. And those industries which do create employment and do add to our GDP, they're essentially needing a very, very stable, reliable, secure source of water. So, you know, in terms of how we move going forward as an attractive inward investment for these companies, we are going to have to look at the water issues here. I mean, as far as our own kind of thinking is concerned, I mean, it is a very, very precious resource. I mean, our previous generations would have collected rainwater. They would have collected them in the garden. They would have used it for gardening. They would have, you know, used it for drinking when the wells didn't work. And the previous generations had a much more appreciation to the value of such natural resources. This is just a personal opinion, but I mean, right now in the Middle East, they're fighting over oil. But I mean, I personally see the day when water will become such a precious resource that there will be wars fought over it in other parts of the world. Thankfully, we will have so much of it here that we may be in a position, if we were a smart enough country, we'd actually filter it, clean it, and sell it to the French. So, just a couple of things in closing. A couple of things to consider. I mean, you know, as an ordinary householder, you know, it is one of those things, and the reason so many people are incensed about this is a basic human right as far as we're concerned. Apart from the fact we're paying for our water through our household charges, we're now being asked to pay for it again. It's a double taxation, and it's hit a raw nerve with so many of us in the country, and rightfully so. I mean, we've had 7 years of austerity, and this for a lot of people is just a straw that's breaking the camel's back. If these kind of systems had been looked at, proposed, and introduced when the Celtic Tiger was roaring, we would have accepted it as part of the continual upgrade to make our country better. But the reality is that we're all being hit now with a charge, and one of the worst parts of it is that we're not going to know how much we're going to be hit with. You know, there's estimates and speculation, and even our speculation. I mean, of course, we're going to, in some ways, create the worst case scenario because we're promoting an alternative. So, I mean, we have a vested interest here. But I would urge you to do your own investigations around it and find out for yourselves. Don't be, you know, guided by government, semi-states, or private enterprise. Go and find out for yourself what the likelihood is of charges and what they're likely to be. But, you know, based on the experience of other quangos, semi-states, and other nonsense that goes on in our small island, it's not unreasonable to assume that triple charges are as likely as anything if you base it on the fact that they got the water metering so badly wrong. At the end of the day, we can backlash this all we want, but this is an EU obligation. We are, you know, after signing the Lisbon Agreement, we don't have any say in this. This is going to happen, and it's only a question of when. We might get a 2-year stay on it, or we might not hear any more about it till after the election, but we are going to have to pay for this. It was also a condition of exiting the Troika as well. That's basically it. What I would say from your family's point of view is become as self-sufficient as you can, and then let the system do what it does. It's going to do it anyway. You know, if you can become self-sufficient, if you can look after your own family and your own interests, whether it's rainwater harvesting, solar panels, geothermal heat pumps, passive housing, better insulation, do whatever you need to do to look after yourselves, because as we all know, relying on anybody else to look after us is it's not the way to go. That's been my opinion. If anybody has any questions, I'm near the end of my time. If anybody has any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, we're at stand M82 if anybody would like to find out more about rainwater harvesting. I'll take this lady first, then that gent, then yourself. Good question. The lady wants to know, are they going to give a grant for this? Well, yeah, according to the legislation that was put in place to introduce Irish Water, there is a proposal to put a grant in for rainwater harvesting. If you think about Milltown and the River Dodder, there was a serious flood there about 2 or 3 years ago. If 10,000 houses around the River Dodder were all collecting rainwater, that flood wouldn't have happened, because all the water would have been dispersed around those 10,000 houses. It wouldn't have deluged into the river at that one moment in time. So there will be, in time, perhaps within the next 18 months, they will be looking at, there is provision for that. And this gentleman here, sorry.
There you go, just some of the sights and sounds here from the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show takes here at the RDS. And before that, we had that presentation there on rainwater conservation. conservation. Well, if you've just joined us, you are watching ongoing live coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, coming to you live here from the RDS here at Simmons Court. This is known as the Simmons Court Pavilion, just off the Marion Road here in Dublin 4. Place is certainly filling up with people, people walking around to the various stands and so on, getting information and advice about their own particular respective homes and any plans they have to either buy a house or renovate a house or move into a house, and of course everything being done relative to each individual's budget and so on. We have lots of more people to meet now between 5 o'clock this evening, between now and then, and of course this show is on again tomorrow and indeed the bank holiday Monday. But we're going to go back out onto the floor right now, and I do believe Laura is speaking to some people at the Mojo Nails stand.
So after looking at kitchens, after sitting on sofas, checking out hot tubs, and even sitting on a massage chair, I'm now going to get my nails done and check out some real beauty products, which I'm very looking forward to. So, Shelley, hello, how are you from Mojo Nails?
I'm good, thank you.
You were going to show me some nail art and actually do some on me, which is lovely. So what do we have here? Talk me through.
We've got a range of different patterns. You can do small patterns, full nail patterns, tips, whatever.
Perfect, I'll go for the pinky, please.
Okay, so a small flower. Each pattern that you do, it's exactly the same method, and it works in 3 very, very simple steps. So all you have to do is this. You take your nail polish and...
Do you put it over any nail polish? Does it have to be gel, shellac, just plain old varnish?
It can go on top of any type of polish, on top of shellac, on top of gels, on top of acrylics, yeah, so any polish. And this is what you do. So you take your polish, just move your hand slightly. It just goes on top of the pattern.
Is it like a little tattoo transfer when you were a kid?
Yeah, it works, yeah, exactly. It's like, it works on a stencil. So you scrape off the excess, stamp it, and then you take your nail, 1, 2, 3, and this is dry.
That's gorgeous. It's so dainty. I can touch it already, can I? Oh, that's fab. Where can you get these products?
You can get them at different exhibitions. We also sell them in Phoenix, in John Lewis, also in Hamleys in London as well, so different department stores.
And what about for Irish customers? Is there a website they can go to?
We have our Moju website, yeah.
Which is moju.com?
moju.co.uk, yes. Yes. Once you've done just the one thing that you need to do on top of your pattern, just seal it with a layer of top coat.
Any layer of top coat. It can be Rimmel, MAC, anything.
Any top coat, and the polish that you use to do it is any oil-based polish, so Jessica, SC, OPI, Barry M, any oil-based.
I will be back to you later when we're finished filming, and I'll get the rest of my nails done. Shelley, thank you very much. Now we're just going to nip over here, and Lucy is going to have a quick chat with me from Benefit Makeup. I'm getting it all in now, lads. So Lucy, hi, how are you?
Good, really good. How are you?
You're going to talk me through some products now. So what are we starting with?
So I'm going to start off with Professional. So this is our primer. So loads of people have heard of this primer. It's for any open pores or fine lines. It's basically for anyone who wants to keep their makeup on longer and make it really, really smooth. So we love it here at Benefit. So
I'll be putting that on in the morning.
Yeah, so it locks everything on all day. So we love it. Then
what's the consistency in that?
So it's like a balm. So if you
just try it a little bit there.
Try a little bit here. So you can just rub it in. So it's clear as it goes on. So any skin tone.
Oh, there's a real silky finish off that.
It's like silicone based as well, so it takes away any excess oil.
Lovely. And what else are you showing me?
So then we have the Bare Real Mascara. So this is our best selling mascara. We sell one in the whole world. We sell one every 10 seconds. Yeah, really, really amazing. It's water resistant as well, and it's a gel formula.
And how much is this?
This is €26, and then at the show you get 10% off today, so really, really good. So you put it on this way, whittle it around, and then we have spikes on the end as well, so it's going to pick at every single lash, and it's really glossy effect, so we love this mascara.
So you don't have to be too delicate with it, in other words?
No. I actually spend most of the time putting mascara on. It's like, people go kind of brush past it really quickly, but I think if you spend more time on your mascara, you get a way better effect.
Can you put on a couple of layers?
Yeah,
of course. It doesn't clump or anything?
No, it's non-clump formula, so it's really, really nice.
Brilliant. What's next?
And then I'm going to show you, this is my favourite product. So this is our new Bare Real Push-Up Liner. So this one here is the first ever gel in a pen. So one click, and then we have an AccuFlex tip as well. So it's first ever gel in a pen, and it's a matte finish and waterproof as well, so it will not budge. We made this so any girl can use eyeliner, Absolutely everybody.
Any girl who's broken up with and cries her heart out, it's not going to come off.
And it's easy to do the flick as well. So if you want to be a girl who wants to go out at night and get that little flick, this will make it so easy. It's goof proof. Okay? So any kind of eye shape, anything, we can put this on.
Does it come in a range of colours or sparkles?
No, just black, just black. So that's part of our Their Real family, so everything just comes in black.
Perfect. Listen, thank you very much, Lucy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
And now
That's our reporter there, Laura Butler there at Mojo Nails. You're watching our ongoing live coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, coming to you live from the Simmons Court Pavilion here at the Royal Dublin Society here in Dublin 4. This show continues until tea time this evening. It's on again tomorrow and again on Monday. So if you're in the business of buying a house, moving into a house, or building a house, or even renovating a house, this is certainly the place for you. Okay, we're going to go back out on the floor, and I do believe Laura's now talking to people at the Des Kelly stand.
I'm here now with Des Kelly Interiors, and he's about to give me a very interesting demo. What have we got going on?
This is carpet that's bleach cleanable. We just demonstrated here. We pour some red wine on it. Splash a drop on it there now. And this is the carpet itself. It's also highly stain resistant. Just take off some of the heavy moisture off it there. Just take it out of it. More of it there. Now this is bleach. It's ordinary Domestos mixed 3:1. Spray it on there. More on. The carpet is totally impervious to it. There's no effect on the carpet whatsoever.
It's vanishing before my eyes.
Vanishing before your eyes, yeah. And that's it. You just get a cloth.
What are the elements in this to make it this different?
Propylene fibre. The colour is totally locked into it at manufacture, so it's UV won't affect it. You can take coffee, tea, red wine, makeup out of it.
And it's still soft and comfortable for my feet?
Absolutely.
So it's not just carpets that you do, obviously there's floors, furniture.
Full range of wood floors, bedding, sofas, three-piece suites.
You name it, you do the works. How long have you guys been in business for?
The last 40 years.
So you know your stuff?
We do indeed, yes.
And what are you offering people coming to the Ideal Home Show this weekend?
Well, we have special offers on all the carpets here, stairs and landings at special prices, 10% off wood floors on stairs. And what else? That's about it, I suppose.
And your fantastic service and your fantastic smile.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Laura Butler there at the Des Kelly Interior stand here at the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show. Well, just looking around, the crowds are certainly milling around, proving a very popular attraction, this event with the public, and of course it's on again tomorrow and Monday as well. We have lots more people to talk to between now and 5 o'clock this evening. I'm going to go back out on the floor right now, and I do believe Laura is now at the Bebo stand.
Revolutionising the way we drink water is Bebo Ireland, and I'm here with Emer. You're going to give me a demo as to what you guys do.
Absolutely. This is our Bebo machine, which will give you instant, straight away hot boiling water, and it also gives you this straight away chilled, filtered cold water as well. So it's instant and it's filtered, so it's like an electric shower, only use what it's supposed to use. It's also UV flashed, which kills all contamination and stuff like that that's actually in the water. Your electricity bills, your kettle is costing you between 10 and 20 cents every time you boil it.
Every time I want tea?
Yeah. Okay, so that's at 3,000 watts, okay? So as I said, it's like electric shower, only use what it's supposed to use. I'll give you a demonstration there. Also, when it's not being used, it goes into sleep mode, so it's saving all the energy. So we just have this little guy here, and suck it out. This is your hot boiling water for your tea and your coffee. And then on the other side here, we've got your chilled, filtered cold water as well.
Does it work by motion detector? You can just put the cup in there and walk away, or do you need to turn it off yourself?
What actually happens is you can actually set it to cup size. There's also an ambient button here. So basically you're controlling it, right? So once you put it on there, right, you have to press the button to start it, and then you have to press it to stop it again, so you're controlling how much you actually use with the actual machine itself.
Colours, what colours do they come in?
Colours, we have everything to go with your kitchen. We've got the yellow, there's the cherry red, and this is the dark red here, orange, lime green, the blue. The ones that aren't on here, we have also purple. We've got the cream one here, and we've also got black then as well to go with that.
And is there anything you're offering the Ideal Home Show visitors this weekend?
Well, special offer is €595 today, and that's for the domestic use. So this is the domestic one that we're actually promoting today, you know. So
can you cook with the domestic one?
Can you cook with this? As in cook soft?
If you want to make pasta, or you know, you can use it that way.
Absolutely. If you want to have a look here, right? You can take this out. This drip tray here.
Yes, yeah.
This actual drip tray comes out, so you can actually fit your kettle, bottles. You can fit a jug underneath here. You can fit a pot, a Tupperware, whatever you want, and fill up and use as much as you want. And then it just clicks back into place. Then again, something like this. It never works when you want it to. So there you go.
Emer, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There you go, that was Laura at the Bebo stand here at the Permanent TSB Ideal Homes Show. Now, earlier on, we spoke to Gavin Duffy of Dragon's Den fame, and Gavin was talking about one particular stand that's here called the Business Action Group. And he was explaining that the Business Action Group works on the premise that it's made up of, in some cases, one-person businesses, one-person operations, but for them, taking out an entire stand here might be a little bit prohibitive because of the cost. So what a lot of these smaller operations have done is they've all clubbed together, if you like, chipped in a few quid, and collectively they have taken out a stand here at the Ideal Home Show. So we're going to go out live to the Business Action Group, and Laura Butler is talking to some of the members.
So Kenneth Green from KT Metal Design, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm very well. Talk me through what you've got here in the stands. Beautiful displays here before me if the camera can pick it up.
Well, this is all our handcrafted metal art. I call it functional sculpture.
Let's get right in here and have a look, and you can
here
get up close here and show me.
It's just an ordinary serving bowl, hand-painted glass, and the bottom is a piece of mild steel sculpted to form a branch of a tree.
Absolutely beautiful.
So when the bowl's not there, the branch is.
It's still a piece of artwork, isn't it?
Piece of artwork on its own, functional sculpture.
So are these something that would be very good and very unique for presents? You know, wedding gifts perhaps, Christmas presents, birthday presents?
Exactly. And wedding gifts, anniversaries. We do flowers for Valentine's Day.
I love this. Can I pick this one up?
Of course you can.
Yeah, that's fabulous. It's very intricate and ornate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all mild steel.
Where do you work at? Where do you work from?
I work from at home in Leixlip in County Kildare.
And how did the company start? Was it just a hobby, something you had an interest in initially?
Well, initially I was a metal fabricator for 15, 30 years ago, and having been made redundant from a multinational, I had to turn my hand back to this skill because at my age it's very hard to find work. So I decided to set up my own company, and here I am today, struggling, but otherwise fine. I love it. And
you obviously, yeah, you really enjoy it.
I love it. Yeah.
Can I have a look at some of these as well? I really like these.
This is metal art again, wall art with copper flowers or copper boards, and a little tea light.
How long would it take to do something like this?
To make that, probably 5-6 hours.
And would you have many orders, or how does business come about? Are you selling anywhere?
We have a website, and we're on Facebook, on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and most of our stuff does come through Facebook, I have to say.
Yeah, social media is fantastic these days. What's the website address?
It's ktmetaldesign.com.
And can we have a look at this guitar very quickly? Wall-mounted guitar for €150. Very good value.
Now,
it's very good value, isn't it?
It's all handmade. It's at least 18 hours work on that.
18 hours. Goodness.
It's all hand formed. There's no machines used whatsoever. And I just weld it in and get a powder coat.
Do you use microscopes or something, or how do you get in and do the kind of nitty-gritty part of it?
Just pure eyesight. Like I won't play now, admittedly, but...
Actually, we'll give it a go and we'll start a bit of a session, will we? Bit of a sing-song.
Where's my steel place up there?
It is, it's fabulous. And what would be the most popular thing that people would be coming to you looking for?
It's actually behind you.
It's behind me. The fiddle, right. This would, do you know what? This would actually be perfect if you had, you know, friends from abroad, from America, from, you know, a real touristy thing, isn't it?
But there's one of them in Afghanistan,
You're joking.
honestly.
So they came over and just came to you and said,
Sent it to his girlfriend who was in the army.
fantastic. What was the reaction?
Absolutely delighted.
It is. It's a beautiful piece of artwork, isn't it?
Yes, I'm delighted with it, I have to tell you.
And is this your favourite item?
To make, yes.
To make.
It's very satisfying to make that, yeah.
And what's this? That's
is
very delicate.
pure gut. Bought from the finest fish and tackle stores in Ireland.
And it's all Irish product, is it?
It's all Irish product, yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. Kenneth, really appreciate you chatting to me. Lovely meeting you. Lovely meeting you. I'll pop around to you later on and have a look for my Christmas list, wish list. Right, we're just going to go over here to Ray and the team. Hello, how are you?
Not too bad, and yourself?
I'm very well. So talk me through what we're looking at here. This is gifts for children, something a little bit unique. So if you're looking for a Santa present, Christmas gift, family gift, anything at all like that.
Yeah, these are 3D lights. The effect they give is that the head is coming out through the wall. So on the turtles, we have the turtle head coming out through the wall. The football, they're easy to install.
The football up there on the wall is fantastic. The camera wants to pick that up.
Yeah, there's no wording on them. They're battery operated, and the sticker comes with them. So you just mount it onto the sticker, and it gives that effect of coming through the wall. There's an on-off switch on them as well. So they're energy efficient. They're LEDs, so they don't really.
Energy efficient is something we want to hear about this weekend,
yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to leave on an extra light in the bedroom for a child. They give up enough light for the parent to go in and see if the child is all right, and for the child to find his way out of the room without turning on an extra light in the house. So, you know, in that respect, they're safe as well for kids.
There's no real age bracket then either. They can be for any child.
No, we've actually they go to adults as well. We have actually the cars. We've sold 3 of them into a garage who's put his name on the registration plate.
Customised.
Yeah, exactly. So he has Anthony Redden Motors on 3 cars in his garage. So, you know, everybody, they seem to appeal to everybody. Car enthusiasts, football enthusiasts, the butterflies for the girls. You know, so it covers a broad range of people. You know.
And tell me, how do these market? I mean, what would be the price point?
They range from $24.99 for the butterflies and the footballs up to $39.99 for the cars. There's 3 different types of cars. There's the blue, which is the classic car. There's the yellow, which is a muscle car, and there's a red Ferrari sports car. We also have coming in the middle of November the Marvel Heroes, which includes Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Just in time for Santa Claus?
Just in time for Santa Claus, yeah. They're a perfect gift. They're something different, unusual as well. And they add a talking point to a bedroom when you walk in and see this head coming out through your bedroom wall. You know, it's wow.
A bit of a fright.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so tell me, for those of us who are watching at home over the live stream broadcast, if they can't get here over the weekend and they want to get their hands on one of these for their children, nieces, nephews, anything at all like that, how do they go about doing that?
Simple. They order online.
Show that up to the camera.
That's Total Gifts with a Z, and they're all available online. So they can order them and we deliver them anywhere in Ireland.
And how long would delivery take?
Delivery takes about 10 days from the time of order, and the price on the screen is what you pay. That's including delivery.
Oh, that's very good. And anywhere nationwide?
Anywhere nationwide, anywhere around Ireland. TotalGifts.com.
So I see cars, I see footballs, I see Ninja Turtles and all of that. For the girls, you also have something very cool for the girls, and it's in a frame. You might just show me that. This is for any One Direction fans out there. I know I've got young cousins who absolutely are obsessed with them.
We do all the personalised stuff as well. So we do One Direction personalised newspapers. We do Manchester United, Liverpool. You know, we do the Manchester United mugs and dressing rooms, and the same with the One Direction. You know, so we cater for everybody. You know, we can put your name on a One Direction mug. We can put you on the front of the One Direction magazine cover, or we can put you in the One Direction newspaper and make the whole article all about you.
Fantastic, I like the sound of that. What if I had a picture myself of myself and my boyfriend, or myself and my dogs, and I wanted to get that on a gift? How could I go about doing that?
Send us on the email with the picture attached, and we can put that into the One Direction magazine, or we can put your picture on the front of the One Direction newspaper as well. So it really does personalise it that bit more.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ray.
You're more than welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're going to move up this way now. Hi there, how are you? We're with Book Splits now.
Yes.
Now, tell us about your service and what you're offering here today.
Basically, Book Splits, it's a simple solution to the heavy school bag problem. It's very simple. You literally take your school book and you split it in half.
Oh, that's fantastic!
There's a way of splitting a school book, particularly a secondary school book. It's based on how school books are bound, which is in little sections of pages, little signatures. And if you split between those, the book will stay intact, it won't fall apart. And then you take your book, and then you take these specially designed covers, and you literally, they're self-adhesive, transparent and rigid, and you literally stick that on.
So you can do it all at home?
You can do it all at home. It's a DIY. and you stick that on and you apply that and you trim it to size. One size fits all. And then you take the next part and you do exactly the same on the back, but you have a flexible part that wraps around the spine. And again, you trim it to size. So you end up with a school book that's like that in 2 halves. It's not damaged. There is a rebinding strip that you can use to put both parts back together again if you wish. But it basically gives the students the option of just leaving half at home and just taking the half that they need to school with them.
This is so practical because I remember when I was in school and even in college as well, you're lugging around. Literally, it feels like you're going to the gym and you're carrying weights in your bag. They're so unbelievably heavy, and the books are always getting thicker and thicker at once. This one is great too. This is a good example because it's a longer, thicker book.
This is a bigger book. A lot of school books, particularly for the junior cert cycle, they're actually 3-year books. So there's 3 years a book. A student does not need to carry a 3-year book every day for 3 years. So it's very easy for teachers to say, leave this half at home for a term or for a year, and then the student just carries this half. But if they're not sure which half the teacher is going to use or the teacher skips around, what I suggest is take both parts to class with them, but only take home the half that they need for homework in the night. So they're only walking home with half and walking back with.
Leave the other one in your basket under your desk or in your locker or whatever.
So it's very simple, it's very practical, and I mean, you end up, instead of carrying that big heavy bag.
That was me, by the way. The camera can pan in on that. That was my bag. My life was in my bag, still is.
I know, I mean, a lot of students are carrying, that is a typical bag, it's 15 kilos. A student shouldn't carry more than 10% of their body weight, and an average 12-year-old is about 40 to 50 kilos, so they should be carrying 4 or 5 kilos, which a school book weighs on average 1 kilo. So that's 4 or 5 books. So as you know, they have 11 and 12 subjects in 1st to 3rd year. So they're carrying, anything up to 15 or 20 kilos, which is really damaging.
As a parent as well, that's guaranteed just to put your mind at ease, isn't it? Knowing that your child is walking around in there, because eventually it would probably lead to back problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I know lots of people whose children are already suffering from back problems, and I suppose that's what prompted this. I'm a mother of 4 children, so I've been giving out about this for years, and for years I've actually been saying to my children, I'm going to cut those stupid books in half, and then I eventually did it. And it's basically, it's based on how school books are bound, which is in these little sections, little signatures, so you're able to split the book without actually damaging it or without it falling apart because of the way it's bound. So as I say, it's very simple, it's very practical, it's an instant solution. If they're your school books, you don't need anybody's permission to do it, you can just decide to do it. Apparently it's not uncool, because that's very important, because no kid is going to pull a trolley behind them or whatever, so this actually is okay to do. And that's it, you can have the weight instantly.
How long have you been in business?
This is my first year really. I started in September of last year, but this is my first kind of full school season. So just over the last couple of months, I'm just really trying to get the word out there, and just so that parents know there is an option, there is something that they can do. Because I suppose up to now there have been no choices. If your child has this heavy school bag, they have to bring the books to and from, and now this is just something that they can do themselves.
You said it's DIY, I'm presuming it's very cost effective too.
Yep, well this is the pack. You buy a pack, and each pack contains 2 front covers, 2 back covers, and a rebinding strip. Now, you need 2 front covers and 2 back covers for each book, because obviously you have 2 halves. So a pack is $4.99, so that does 1 book. So I suppose, it's what price can you put on your child's health? 5 or 6 secondary school books weigh 1 stone or 6.5 kilos. So if you were to just split 5 or 6 books, you would reduce the weight of the bag by half a stone instantly, or 3.3 kilos. So for €25, it's not a lot.
And as you were saying there, 1 book could last for 3 years if you're in the junior cert cycle, or 1 book could last for 2 years in the leading cert cycle. So this, in a way, I mean, $4.99 a pack for 1 book over 3 years.
Absolutely, and if you do it in first year, you have the benefit of it for the 3 years.
So it's very budget friendly. Yeah. Where can people find you?
At the moment, I'm just online on my website, which is booksplits.ie. That's really, at the moment, that's where I am. I'm not in retail yet. Who knows? That's maybe the next step, but for the moment, it's my website.
But you're flying it already. And are you offering anything discount-wise or anything like that for people this weekend?
This weekend at the Ideal Homes, 4 packs for $19.99, 7 packs for $29.99, or 10 packs for $39.99. So it varies between $4.99 and $3.99 a pack. The normal price, ORP, is $5.99. So. But if they're not here at the Ideal Homes this weekend, it's available on my website.
And please read out your website for us.
It's www.booksplits.ie.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Lovely chatting to you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're just going to head around this way. We've got a few more stands over here that we want to have a look at. Hi, I'm Laura.
Hi, I'm Neve. Hi, how are you? I'm grand.
So talk us through what you're doing here today, please.
I'm here to promote my business. I run Pedresci Electrical and Alarms with my husband. We're 21 years in business. We do all types of electrical work.
Working with your husband?
Yeah.
That's very easygoing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, I do all the office end of work, telesales, and promoting us at fairs and events like this, and he does the work.
So you're the lovely front of house lady.
I am.
So talk me through what the product is, please.
We're electrical contractors, so
Is there something we can have a look at
I
here?
have an app.
Yep, perfect. That's what I was looking for. Right, show that into the camera so we can see, so you can talk us through that.
It's basically a calculator that tells you how much money you'd save if you replaced your existing bulbs with energy saving bulbs, and it tells you in money as opposed to tons of CO2 that you're going to save. So you can see before you invest in a bulb how long it's going to take you for it to pay back.
So can you tell from different brands of bulbs then how much you would save, or how does it work?
No, it depends on the wattage of the bulbs as to the amount of energy consumed by the bulb when you have the bulb switched on.
So if I've got an energy saving bulb, how much would I save?
It depends on the wattage of your existing bulb. So if you have a 100 watt bulb and you want to replace it with, say for example, a 20 watt CFL, you'll save yourself €19. Now there are some assumptions. It's based on 4 hours a day, every day over the course of a year. So if you have your bulb on longer or if you have it on less, the amount that you save is going to fluctuate.
So it's a calculator app then as well for any kind of bulb, any kind of brand, any kind of wattage. You just slot it in there and you're told immediately how much you'd save.
Exactly, yeah. And the app is $2.79 in the App Store, so it's less than the price of a cup of coffee, less than the price of a bulb, and you can see there and then how much you're going to save. It's on your iPhone, or it's available
portable.
in the Android market as well. You don't need to have a Wi-Fi or anything like that. It works if you're at an event and you're looking for a bulb, and some bulbs are €8-9. You can see straight away how long it's going to take you for it to pay back.
So if I was going to my local supermarket and I have my shopping basket, I've come around to the lighting section, I want to buy a bulb for the blown bulb in the lamp that's gone in the hallway, I can just pick literally a couple of them up. Can you barcode scan it yet, or do you just put in the details yourself manually?
You just put in the details yourself manually.
So I can go up with my phone, got my app here on the phone, okay, 100 watts for one bulb, and it will suss out for me.
Exactly, but you can change the wattage of the bulb. So as new bulbs come onto the market, you literally go into the settings, and you can change the amount of watt that you're going to be seeing. You can also change the cost per kilowatt hour. So if you change your electricity supplier and the price of electricity fluctuates up or down, you can use that as well. Then you can go in and you can do a complete survey. So if you have all the rooms in your house, or if you have a commercial premises or a hotel or a school, you can see straight away before you retrofit all your light bulbs how much you're going to save, and obviously what your payback period is going to be.
Fantastic, very efficient. Do you have a website?
We do. We have two websites. We have pedresci.com for the electrical contracting firm, PED or ESCHI, and we have Eco Apps, and the links to the iPhone store and the Android market are there within that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Lovely meeting you.
Nice. Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Right, we're going to move on a little bit. Hi. How are you? My name's Laura.
Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. Talk me through roofing. We haven't done anything on roofing all weekend, actually, so I'm very interested to hear all about this. Your service, what is it?
Basically, our service is FlexiPoint. It's a new flexible compound, and rather traditional sand and cement. If that was sand and cement, it would just break off. So it's basically a fine sand with a resin and a pigment mixed into it. And it's basically when your roof in the winter and summer months will flex, and basically what that does, that flexes with the roof so you don't have any cracks.
So this is a summer-winter option?
Yeah. Then rather traditional sand cement, if a winter and summer, it'll eventually break and fall off. With that flexes with the roof. And that's the main purpose of repointing your roof.
So if you've been in your home 20 years and you want to get this, how do you go about doing it?
Just basically find us on the internet, flexipoint.ie, and then they'll come up.
And how long does it take to install?
The same time of traditional sand cement. It's probably a little bit quicker, and it's quicker to do.
And in and out in one day as well?
Yeah, all depends on the job. So average job's one day.
And where can people find you if they don't get a chance to come down to the Ideal Home Show and the RDS this weekend?
Just basically Google flexipoint.ie, and it should come up on the internet, and that's how you find us.
Perfect. And what about a price point?
It basically works out probably cheaper than traditional sand and cement. For a standard house, you're looking at a 7 metre ridge. It's about €200.
For what you're getting, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Especially with the very unpredictable Irish weather.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Listen, thank you very much. Right, we're going to keep going. And hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Please introduce yourselves.
We're Howard Roofing Contractors. We specialise in flat roofing. We're third generation at the game, and basically everything you see here, we're approved contractors for.
Third generation. I love hearing that, family businesses. It's really, really, it's just so Irish, isn't it? It's fantastic to see businesses just thriving like that.
I think it's in 2016, our family will be 100 years in roofing, so it goes way back.
That just shows you how valuable, you know, customers are, and how established you are, and how very up to the minute you are with your game.
Yeah, I am. Well, you know, there's a lot of new products here. There's one here with there's only 8 approved contractors in the country that can use.
Okay, let's have a look at this one, and we'll make sure the camera gets a full view of this. So do you want to hold that and maybe talk me through what it is and how it's different?
Well, it's a cold applied system, and it's like an EPDM. And you paint on your primer, you peel it back, roll it out then, and then your laps are hot air welded. So it's a very, very durable product, and you don't have a risk of a naked flame. So it's you know, it's very, very good.
And Howard Roofing are just, you know, one in few in the country who are doing this?
Yeah. I think there's 8 approved contractors to do it, you know, and we're one of them. So
it's very much specialty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's new. It's been in Europe for a long time, but you know, it's only kind of hitting Ireland now. So, you know, it'll be the same with the EPDM when that came out. It was relatively new here, but it was out for a long time in the States and stuff like that. You know, this Carlisle one here, the classic Bond version of that, JFK Airport was done in that 52 years ago, and it still hasn't leaked. So
that kind of says it all, does it?
Good product, yeah.
Please tell us the name of your website.
It's at www.howardroofing.ie.
Thank you so much. Now lastly, we're going to move on to one more lady here, Liquid Glass Surface Protection Specialists.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Talk us through what you're doing here, please.
Well, we are MP Liquid Glass Systems. We use liquid glass as a surface protection. So we can protect all different types of surfaces to make them waterproof. From the outside of your house, using, if you want to protect red brick and stop water penetration and stop damp. So what we do is apply a very, very thin layer of glass in liquid form.
You're going to give us a little bit of a demo, are you?
Demonstration. So this is a very absorbent stone, and you see the water literally just repels straight off it. If you put that on a side that's not treated, the water will go straight into it. And you can use it on brick and stone, but you can even use it on something like suede.
I saw the boots. I was dying to ask because I've got loads of suede boots at home, and you can never find a really, really good protector for suede.
And especially, it's difficult to find something that won't change the colour of your suede. So if you feel that, you would never think there's anything on it. It's completely normal.
But it even looks perfect. It doesn't look rough, which they can.
Perfect. And if you spill water on that, it literally repels the water away, so protects your suede. Now you can go and wear your suede boots in the rain. But more importantly is we stop damp coming into your house, we stop algae growth on the exterior walls of your house. And from an aesthetic point of view, nobody wants big nasty red streaks down the side of your house. But it does stop the damp coming in as well. So we do it all over the country, and we offer free test patches, and you can find us on www.npliquidglass.ie.
Perfect. Is this your first time to the home show?
Yes, it is.
Are you enjoying it so far?
Really enjoying it. There's great buzz around and lots of visitors, so it's fantastic.
Lovely meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So we'll go back to the studio now.
That was Laura Butler there out at the Business Action Group stand, talking to some of the small up-and-coming businesses that are exhibiting here at the Ideal Homes exhibition, brought to you, of course, courtesy of Permanent TSB. Now, funny enough, just as we cut away there from Laura to a general overview of the scene here at the RDS, you see those little, they look like footballs with glass in them. They're known as pods, and they're part of an exhibition here from a company called Podology. And to explain what Podology is, how they work and how they're doing, I'm joined by Ita Bragi of Podology. As I said, we're just looking at them there. They look like, I suppose, circular glass houses, for the want of a better description. But tell me what Podology is and how you've come about.
Okay, well, Podology is a garden pod company. We supply and fit garden pods. The pods are basically a room for your garden that you can enjoy. It's somewhere where you can relax, whether it's to have just a cup of coffee and read the newspaper, or to have friends and family, or have play a game of cards with. It's really a room for the garden so that you can enjoy your outdoor space regardless of the weather.
So is it like, if you like, a new concept in conservatories?
Yes, it is a new concept. And the advantage of it as opposed to a conservatory is that basically you can place it wherever you wish in the garden. A conservatory traditionally is attached to the house. So for some people they might have a sunny spot at the end of the garden and the pod would be placed there so they can take advantage of that area. Or perhaps they might have a wooded area, some nice trees, and they would put the pod in the centre of that just as a visual feature. And they're definitely a feature. They're contemporary by design and architectural by nature, and so they're really eye-catching and very much a talking point.
You're based in Glen of the Downs in County Wicklow. I think it's the N11 heading down to Wexford.
That's right.
When were you established, and how did the excuse me? How did the idea come about?
Well, we're established just under 4 years now. The company basically was in construction, and with the recession and everything that happened there, we diversified. And so the garden pods were something that we saw and we thought it was a good idea to go into. And so we basically, I suppose, focused the business on that. And now as with the upturn in the economy, we're doing pretty much some extensions and type of thing, but we're still very passionate about our garden pods.
Okay, well now, what's very eye-catching about what you do is that the pods, if you like, are sort of spherical, in the shape of a sphere. Do you make the pods though in a customized way? If somebody says, I'd like a rectangular pod, you can do it that way, or is that what's called in business your USP, your unique selling product?
It's our unique selling point, basically. If somebody wants a different shape, well, then we can build it certainly as you would an extension or a standalone building. But the pods are the pods, that's the shape of them, and they're really unique because of that shape.
What sort of a reaction are you getting here at the show?
We're getting a very positive reaction, as we do anytime we come to the Ideal Homes show. For people who haven't seen them before, there's definitely the wow factor. For people who have seen them before, they've had time to go away and think about it. Perhaps they've had their garden done since they'd seen the last time, and they're coming back to us to talk to us then about which pod would suit their garden, what would suit the space that they have, and what they need to do, how they need to prep the ground so that we can come and install their pod.
So these are not just the standard size, you can customize the size relative to the requirement of the customer?
Well, we have 5 different designs. So it depends then on what the customer wants, which design they want. We can customize the interior, but the 5 exterior designs are as is. And then it's a matter of maybe adding to it or colour choice for the interior.
They're pretty big in size. I mean, they're not the type of thing you'd put in your pocket and walk around with. So no. I'm just curious how you actually transported them in here this weekend.
Well, this weekend we literally had them transported. They were lifted up by a high-ab contraption, if you like, and put onto the back of a truck and literally arrived at the back door. And then we have them on casters for the purpose of the show, and we wheel them into the exhibition area.
Of course, the all-important question is that if someone like me wants to buy one of these, how much do they cost?
Okay, they start from €4,750 and they go up to €22,950. That price includes installation, and they also come with a 10-year guarantee, and there is no planning permission required for them.
And are you able to, we'll say, put a power supply in there as well?
Yes, we are. With 2 of the larger ones, they come completely kitted out, wired for sound basically, and with these smaller models we can still do that. So it's just a matter of running some power from the house down to them.
Since you established Podology, what sort of interest are you getting overseas?
overseas. We actually in a few different countries, for example in France, in Sweden, and a couple of other countries in Europe, we've had literally through our website or through word of mouth where somebody has told somebody about it, we've had quite a considerable amount of interest.
And do you get any inquiries like beyond, Europe? I mean, the wider world.
We've had one or two from the US, just basically, yeah.
And if I go into you and I say I'd like one of your pods, and I give you specific measurements, how long will it take you to make one of them?
Okay, on average, for the smaller models, we're talking 2 to 3 weeks. And for the larger models, which will be the summer house or the deluxe summer house, we're talking 6 to 8 weeks lead-in time.
And if anybody wants to get in touch, I take it you have a website?
We do. It's www.podology.ie.
There you go, www.podology.ie. Ita Brady of Podology, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You're watching our ongoing live coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, coming to you live here from the RDS here in Dublin. We're in the Simmons Court Pavilion, and the crowds are still milling around. Saturday is proving to be a very popular day at this event, and of course it is open again tomorrow and bank holiday Monday. Okay, we're going to go back out into the arena, and Laura is with people from Jackson.
I'm here with Greg Jackson of Jackson & Quirk Architects. Thank you for letting me have a quick chat with you at your exhibit. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do. You're a little bit different. You do residential, but you also have something unique that you offer.
We do residential, we do detached houses and extensions, but we also have this model called citizen development, where we invite groups of people to come together who buy a site together, and they develop without using a property developer. So they save 25% on the cost of the house. They get an opportunity to be involved in a collaborative design process, and they save all this money, and it ends up being a really interesting, sustainable community because they get to know each other so well through the process. It's like this pre-charged sense of community. So it's a model that's used throughout the world. Like in Germany, I think 100,000 people have been housed this way. So we've been trying to introduce it to Ireland, and we've got a huge amount of interest. There's actually a pilot project running in Fishamble Street for 4 houses, but we'd like to see it become mainstream. I think in Berlin there have been 200 developments with 50 or 60 houses each in it, so there's great potential in it.
Absolutely. And tell us about the market. How have you found the market over the last year or two?
It's definitely improved. It's definitely improved, and I think you see it at shows like this. There's more architects here. There are more people back on. There's obviously a little bit more money around. There's a bit more confidence. I think over the last few years, most people have been doing things like extensions, and you even see it in the RAI stand there, that the theme is extend and renovate, which is part of that older thing. But I think there are more people now interested in actually going ahead. There's this expectation that prices are definitely rising, so it's worth doing it. And because there's a little bit more money and more mortgages available, they're able to do it. So
people still want value for their money though too. And just there's a gallery of some of your work over here. What kind of designs do you specialise in?
I'd say you'd call it modernist to some degree.
Quite contemporary?
Yeah, it's contemporary, and it's very, very simple, plain lines. But I think every architect has to be able to kind of accommodate the needs of a particular client. And while we'd have a certain aesthetic and a certain thing that we like, I think every architect must be able to respond to what a client wants. And we regard ourselves as being very participatory. So we will kind of listen very carefully, and we should be able to do it in most styles, but bring things to the client that maybe they haven't thought about themselves. So that's our approach to it.
This particular element here, that's not something I would think of myself. Is that kind of the kind of things you would suggest, perhaps a little bit more aesthetically pleasing?
I think what we'd like to do in the beginning is challenge a client. So we'd put a lot of things to them. That there is actually charred timber. So it's timber that has been purposely charred, and what it does is it acts as a barrier against the weather, so it cannot rot once that's done to it. It's interesting, it's black, it's a very black and white graphic sort of aesthetic. Not for everybody, some people love it, but I think the thing to do in the beginning is challenge as much as possible. Put a lot of options out there, and then just maybe expose them to some other ideas, and then maybe draw it back in to meet the thing they're really comfortable with.
Have you been to the Ideal Home Show before?
We have. We did it last spring, and even there's a huge difference between last spring and now. Like, I think we've tripled the size of our stand between the two. There was a lot of activity at the spring show, but already today we're finding that it's even more. There are people who are more likely to do a project now, I think, than just talk about it. So it's good.
Brilliant. Always best to leave it on a positive note. Greg Jackson, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Now we're just going to head straight down here and speak to another architect, Fergus Flanagan. They're regulars at the Ideal Home Show, and they specialise in high-spec residential. And they're just over here to the left. They do one-off designs. And I just want to speak to Fergus himself, if I can interrupt him here for a moment, about what's different in the market. He's a very popular man, is Fergus. Hi Fergus, how are you?
I'm very good, and yourself?
Good, thank you. Talk me through the galleries here. It's very, very clean, very chic looking.
Okay, I was away for 12 years and I lived in a vineyard region of Germany. So when I came back to Ireland, I noticed that Irish architects were missing the gap in the market. And that's what they designed houses that when it rained just stayed in. And to me that was just gross stupidity, you know. So for example, you'll see in a lot of our houses, we'll actually pull the roof across so you can actually sit outside and you can actually do things like have a barbecue, you know. And we're often hearing people saying, oh, I'm going to have a barbecue, I hope it doesn't rain. Well, this is what we should have been designing for from the scratch. We should have the best covered terraces, you know, and there's another one down there that we did in Malahide here. And then once we started designing these things, we started noticing that it's still a bit nippy in summer, you know, so we start putting in outdoor covered terraces there with external fireplaces that double up as barbecues. And then even from there we took it a stage further where we rendered a wall and we used the projector to have an outdoor cinema. So a lot of this stuff actually doesn't cost a lot of money, it's just about clever design.
It's value for your buck, but it's also, you're getting an extra room or two out of your home.
You are, and what our clients tend to tell us is that actually it's the most used room in the house, you know, so that's where it is. And again, this stuff isn't expensive, this stuff is really relatively cheap, you know, but again, people can start their summers earlier and end them later.
How have you found the market of the last 18 months?
Especially in the last 12 months, we started seeing a massive pickup. There's a real demand, there's a real confidence out there. And I think people also through TV programs are expecting more from their architects. So it's actually quite good. It's a healthy environment out there and the market's quite strong.
People are definitely getting more choosy, aren't they? Because they're less willing to part with their money. If they are going to part with it, they want to do it in the right way.
Well, they can do it. That's the good news, you know. They don't have to settle for something that's second best, you know. They can actually get what they want and get something really tasty and good without a massive premium. Like the builders' prices are still quite low, you know, so it still is a very good time to build.
What are you offering clients here this weekend?
Well, this weekend we're looking at, we're doing a design session, and at the design session we actually come out to your house and designing the house. And what we tended to find was clients didn't know where to start. So they didn't know what they could get for their money, so we wanted to bridge that gap and make our clients informed. So at the design session, we don't just design, okay? We actually run them through their budgets, and there's loads of questions people don't even know they should be asking, like, do we have to move out, or can we stay here during the build? So we're able to look at it from the micro to the macro, and that's what we're offering for €300.
Fergus, thank you very much.
Andrew, it's nice to
and we will throw back to you, Ken, in studio.
That's our reporter there, Laura Butler there, talking to Fergus Flanagan of Fergus Flanagan Architects, talking about the latest trends in architecture. Well, if you've just joined us, well, welcome aboard. You're watching live coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, coming to you live here from the ODS in Dublin, with you until about 5 o'clock. This show, of course, continues tomorrow and indeed Bank Holiday Monday. So if you're in the process of buying a house, building a house, or even renovating an old house, I think you should be here. There's some fantastic exhibitions, fantastic exhibitors here. There's also lots of advice to be had on everything from kitchens to sitting rooms to bedrooms to hanging gates to laying down driveways. Everything associated with modernising a home, it's all here under the one roof. And speaking of the modern house and so on, we're going to go back out to Laura, and this time Laura is talking to people at the Christoph stand.
So Mick, I'm in the market for a kitchen. Why would I come to you?
Well, we're purely an Irish company. Everything that we do, we manufacture here on our fair old Isle, so we import our timber. So everything that you see here, including all our corbels, all our own designs, they're all in-house and done here in Ireland.
Fabulous. I want to take a look around here very quickly.
Absolutely.
Because this has just caught my eye.
Beautiful, yes. That's our Cook's Island. That's called a Cook's Island.
A Cook's Island.
Yes.
This is something I would absolutely want, because you want to be able to see your guests. You want a lot of preparation space.
Yeah. So we have a bit of prep area. We also have what we call a veg sink here, which is veg washing tap. So that's an extendable tap. We also have along here at the front where all your products are labelled, and that's purely for the cook to work from. As you're prepping, you're working from each individual drawer. In a round area here, and then we have our butcher's block here with our knives incorporated in, and a butcher's block on the very side of that. So that's an 80mm solid oak top.
It looks absolutely fabulous. Can I just draw the camera's attention to this? Because this is something that is also very individual as well. It's very unique, isn't it, Mick? You can put anything here you want.
Absolutely, and again we've some lentils in here, with some pasta and some soya beans here on the bottom. So again, it's just showing what you have in your, and again these are individual storage areas here as well. So everything that we have here, we use all blow motion runners on all of our product. So they're all soft close and all individual. So they're not gimmicky, they're actually fully functional cupboards and drawer packs.
Now, if I was going for a kitchen, I would absolutely want a pantry press like this.
This pantry here, as a lady once said to me at the last show that we did, this pantry to a woman is like a Ferrari to a man. It's absolutely everything. All your dry goods are done in here. We also complemented with a finished, let it be a marble, let it be a quartz or a granite top inside in the pantry. That's done as part.
It's like your own workspace.
It really is, absolutely. We would always recommend that the customer would put power in here. So for your mixing, for anything like that. And again, we would bespoke this out to somebody's individual requirements. Sometimes we build in coffee machines here, microwave. So everything, I can't emphasize enough that every project that we do, we personalize it to the customer's requirements. It's not anything that we buy off the shelf. It is purely bespoke for every individual customer.
This is completely customized then. So it's, in a way, is it almost like a utility room?
It is indeed. Well, this would be more so a dry food pantry. And if you go back to our old days and our old generation, the pantry was where a lot of dry foods were kept and prepped in that area. So we incorporate these as a freestanding unit, or we incorporate them as part of cabinetry within a kitchen. So this one here particularly, if we close it over there, this is a curved finish on it here. So again, with our round reeded pillars here and a curved door finish here. Really, it's really warm, enticing. Now we do it with a straight brake line finish, either with just a flush panel, but this where we can do it it gives more character to a kitchen.
Absolutely, and I love the chrome handles.
Yes, the chrome and the grey are really, grey is the new white, as we say.
Now, grey is the new white, and you've just said it.
Yes.
This looks spectacular. You can tell this is really on trend at the moment, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and our cornice moulding is new. We've just launched this at the show, and this is a bell top canopy with a corbel finish coming down here, but again not incorporating and not encompassing the worktop area here. So again, you have lots of room to prep either side, which are double oven, single oven either side. Again, emphasizing the one-stop area for cooking and prepping.
But it's not structured in the sense that, I mean, say I wanted to put a different kind of backsplash on that.
Absolutely.
We sit down together and we talk about what I like.
We personalise everything to the customer's own requirements, and that's very, very much. We take a lot of care. We do a lot of prepping with our customer, getting the design right. We also offer, which are fairly unique to ourselves, where we actually dry fit a customer's kitchen in our factory. So if, Laura, you came to us and we agreed a design and we agreed our pricing, etc., you would come down to our showroom, you would see your kitchen 70% finished before it leaves our factory. At that stage, you would pick out your worktop types, your handles, etc. So we really go the extra mile to make sure that the customer's satisfaction at the end of the product is really done to the nth degree.
And I love that it's really a 5-star service, and I love that I am involved from the beginning right
Very
to the
much.
end.
And so for argument's sake, if this was your kitchen here, let's just take, and you come down to our factory, our showroom, we will have that done out to the scale of your room. So you'll be actually standing in your kitchen in our factory.
I'm getting excited already.
It's a fantastic facility for a customer particularly, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, where you don't have to think what colour worktop is going to go in my kitchen, what kind of handles am I going to use, what glass will I put in my glass cupboards. That's all done at dry fit. So then you go off and you go back and we continue on finishing off the project that we've started back in one of our showrooms, one of our 3 showrooms. We have 3 showrooms in Ireland. Our main factory and showroom is in Dundalk on the Cooley Peninsula, just south of Carlingford. We have a beautiful showroom here in Dublin and Sandyford, and we have a 3rd showroom down in Hillsborough in County Down. So we're just outside Lisburn.
Fantastic. It's very important for the men, I must say, to see it all in action, because let's face it, men can't really visualise like a woman can.
No, absolutely not. And we do a number of things. We do CAD drawings initially. Then what we do is, and I have some of them outside here, we actually we have our own in-house architect, and he will draw architectural, personalised drawings for your kitchen. And we'll maybe have a look at those in a second when we get outside.
Take us down to them now, so come on.
Yeah. And again, I'll just show you some of the quirky things that we have here. This is an artist's impression of a customer's house here. So CAD drawings are fantastic, and they really, really are good from a planning point of view. When we've designed finished, our artist, he draws up these for each individual bespoke project that we do.
Very important, so you can visualise what it's going to look like.
That's far more easier. That's far easier to visualise than a CAD drawing, which are fantastic and they're brilliant. But this is really the end. And I suppose people come to us and they say, "Well, this is going to cost us an absolute fortune." Absolutely not the case. Our motto is affordable quality. We all know that people have a budget to work within. Okay, we are middle to high end of the scale, but certainly for the quality of work, we use a solid carcass interior on all of our products. All top-end fittings and fixtures, because at the end of the day, it's our brand. We're hugely protective of our brand, and we pass that on to the customer, and that's vitally important.
It's a premium product, like you say.
It is a premium, but at
Irish
affordable
product.
price. Absolutely. As we say here, we're handcrafted in Ireland. We import our timber, and everything else that you see on this stand here is handmade. We don't buy anything off a shelf. All of our corbels, all of our cornice mouldings, you'll see a number of different finishes all around. They're all in-house. Paneling is a very big feature of people's houses currently. We do half-wall paneling, and then if we come around here, we do a full wall, and that's in an oak finish as opposed to a hand-painted finish. That's American white oak. And again, going into doors, interiors, we do not just do kitchens, we do kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, studies. So we offer
the whole hog.
We do the bespoke for the whole house. Yes, absolutely.
Mick, thank you so much.
Listen, Laura, thanks very much indeed.
It looks fantastic. Now,
Thank
very
you.
quickly, tell us, for those who cannot make the Ideal Home Show this weekend, where can they find you?
We've just launched a new website, www.christoph.ie or .co.uk. And our Facebook page will be linked into that as well. So if you can't get to see us here at the show, please visit us online, pop an inquiry into us, and we will get out and we'll do a site survey for you.
Brilliant. Mick, thank you very much.
Laura, thanks very much indeed.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
There you are, that was our reporter there, Laura Butler, out here in the Simmons Court Pavilion here at the RDS as part of our coverage of the Permanent TSB Ideal Homes Show. I just want to remind you, by the way, that if you are watching online and you're thinking of coming here, this show is on again tomorrow, Sunday, and Bank Holiday Monday. And it could be of particular interest to you if you're thinking of either buying a home, or you're currently in a home and you want to upgrade, or you're thinking of building a home, or you may have bought an old home that perhaps that needs to be modernized. Everything you want for the modern home is effectively here under the one roof. Everything either in relation to kitchens, furniture, sitting room, bedrooms, if you want to put new gates on the entrance to your house, if you want to put down a driveway, everything is all here. And of course, the real buzzwords at this particular event this weekend are the words energy efficiency. Lots of advice in relation to insulation, the whole business of dry lining that keeps heat in, stops drafts getting in, and of course that helps to minimize heating costs. There's also advice in relation to the new government scheme that gives an incentive, if you like, to upgrade a house, because there are VAT rebates if you have work done by qualified plumbers, electricians, builders and so on. You can get money back, and details are of course available on that on the www.revenue.ie website. We had Pat Malone in earlier on from the Revenue explain how that works, and he did say it's proving to be very, very popular indeed. Okay, we have more demonstrations here between now and 5 o'clock, but what we're going to do right now is we're just going to go down to that part of the arena here at the RDS. There's a demonstration taking place in theatre number 2, and I do believe it's known as the Kitchen and Practicality presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Declan Hogan. I work with a company called Kitchen Space. I am a kitchen architect. I was an architect in a previous life, but I'm a kitchen designer now. This seminar, it's about kitchen design and the steps that I use about how to go about designing your kitchen. I do it in a slightly different format from the old traditional way, trying to take into account all the items you're using in a kitchen. So I'm just going to talk my way through it, how I do it, but please feel free to jump in with any questions, because I'll just stay talking otherwise. But if there's anything in particular you want me to address, just shout up and I'll address it as we go along. So in terms of kitchen design, there's two parts to kitchen design, and everybody comes from one angle or the other. There is function or practical, how you use the kitchen, and there's aesthetic, how it looks and how it feels and the general look of it. Usually when I go to people, they always approach it from one angle or the other. You'll find people who are a cook or who like cooking or are into using the kitchen, and they're usually very functionally orientated. Well, this would have to go here, or you would have to do this. Why would you consider putting it there? Then other people are just purely into aesthetic. So much so we did a kitchen about 2 years ago out in Meath, and the lady wanted an oven, and the corner was an acute angle. And when I explained that you couldn't put the oven in the corner because when you opened it down, the oven door was going to hit off the press beside, I said, hello, I don't cook, just put the oven in. So some people are very aesthetic orientated and some are very function. So the key to getting a correct kitchen is try and find the balance. And you're going to have to compromise either on one area or the other. So in terms of function, the first and most important thing is your needs analysis. So have a think about, do you like to use the kitchen on your own? Do you want just a compact area that you don't like people walking in around under your feet, that it's a little zone of its own? Or do you prefer an island where people can free flow around, two people work together? Are you a hoarder? Do you have lots of pots and pans, or do you have a specific amount of items you like to have? Do you need a lot of storage? Just all these little things, as much information as you can write down, give to your kitchen designer. Even if you think it may or may not be relevant, put it down, because it can give them a flavour of how you're thinking or what you use in a kitchen. The next thing, space limitations. In particular, if you're living in a house and you have a kitchen in a particular format that it's always been in, it's very easy to always think of the kitchen being that shape and that way. The first thing I do when I go into a room is I try and think without the cabinets, even without the doors in the room, think of it just as the box, as the space, and how things might be tweaked or moved around a little bit that might improve. So look at the space limitations and see, work for there. Zonal principles, I'm just going to go into that. This is how I design a kitchen. It's according to zones, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. And then, as I said, balance with aesthetics, because all best kitchens are a balance of between function and aesthetic, as we said. So aesthetic, 3 distinct styles in kitchens, and you design them differently for each one. The first one is contemporary, or the clean line Italian or German look, the very minimalist kind of look. And key principles in that would be horizontal. You get a lot of wide drawers, a lot of horizontal lines in the kitchen. You'll see in that particular picture where the oven cabinet aligns with the change in the ceiling, the window comes down the other in line with the worktop. So with a contemporary kitchen, you kind of have to design it early in the stage where the kitchen aligns very, very well with the structure. Eliminate the wall cabinets and just have a very clean line kitchen. These are some examples of very clean line contemporary kitchens. Very nice, but you have to design them at a very early stage in the process. For a hybrid design, this is very good for people who have their room already or have a kitchen and they're afraid that a contemporary kitchen might just be out of balance with the rest of the house, and they want a modern looking kitchen but to work around what they have already. So we generally would use solid doors or painted doors, maybe more traditional elements, but do them in a very contemporary style as well. Just the key thing in these is not to use any cornice or pillars or trims or fillers or things like that. Keep it clean line, but traditional materials. So this is a very common look in Ireland as well, a more hybrid design. Some examples of hybrid kitchens there. Again, traditional materials in a very modern design. And classic design. If you like the traditional painted style kitchen, the key elements to that are not too many wide drawers. It just looks unbalanced in a classic kitchen. Use more vertical emphasis, longer doors, taller doors. Frame them out with pillars and sections at the side so you have more modular sections. And again, high cornice and high trims for a more elegant feel in a kitchen. Some examples of classic kitchens there. You'll see a lot of tall kind of doors in these as well. So that's general about the feel of kitchen. So how do you go about designing the kitchen? How do you create your perfect kitchen? So everyone's heard about the work triangle. What are the 3 points on the work triangle? Bridge, Cooker and sink, correct. Okay, well done. What do we all think of the word triangle? I don't believe in it at all. I think it has no relevance at all to kitchen design. The word triangle was something that was used back in the Henry Ford's factory, where there were 3 points between a working station and people could move from one to the other. And I think they started to use it then in the project houses in Chicago, where things were really small and there was a fridge, a cooker and a sink. And it just gained currency in kitchen talk. But I'm going to try and demonstrate it has very little relevance to a good kitchen design. So, there was a survey done by the Irish Kitchen and Bedroom Association. What are the top 12 most frequently used items in a kitchen, or things or areas? Anyone want to hazard a guess as what the top most important element in a kitchen? No? No? Anyone there? Someone said their worktop. Yeah, preparation space. It's the most frequently used area in the kitchen. A nice clean free run of worktop where there's no obstruction, no hob, no cooker, no anything in the way. So number 1 is preparation space. I'm not going to drag the game out with each one at number 2. So number 2 is cutlery drawer. And then the third most frequently used item is the dustbin. Now this is a survey. This has gone on people's needs analysis and what they were using and most important in the kitchen. So yours will be a little bit different, but this was an average for people. It might help you with your own needs analysis list. So number 4 was the food storage. That can be one pantry or a larder or a couple of cabinets where you keep the food. Number 5, there's the first point on our triangle. It's now number 5. And number 6 is the kettle, the fridge, freezer, the dishwasher. For some people that's number 2, for more people it's number 12, or they don't even have one, so it's, you know. Then the cooktop or the hob, because generally the oven and the hob are separate now. The radio, microwave, and number 12 was the oven and the grill. Now some people are shocked that the oven is number 12 on the list, but the oven is something that you put the food in, you walk away from it, you don't spend much time at it. It's not a very, you don't spend an awful lot of time at the oven. So there are the 12 items. So how do we go about implementing that into a kitchen design, or how do we do that? So I'm just going to take a sample case study of a typical 4-bedroom semi-detached house, and we were asked, it was for a small family, they wanted more light, they wanted a large island and a friendly kind of dining space with it. So this was the typical layout, and a lot of you might recognize it as a typical layout in your own houses. This was the door in from the hallway, and this door then was for out to a utility room, and you have your window at the back, a patio doors and a kitchen dresser. And there was a fridge just inside the door and a radiator and a kitchen dresser over here. So that's the way the kitchen was laid out. So the first step that we do, step 1, is analyze the space and the limitations of that room, and are there any changes we can make to improve that. So the first thing we did, they wanted more light in the room, so the only way of achieving it, because it's a 2-story house, we couldn't put Velux windows in, the only way was to change the window that was at the back to another set of double doors that lets in more light. Now, does anyone see any problems this might pose or anything? Yeah, there's a lot of doors. There's a hell of a lot of doors in the room. But the obvious thing, and most people don't consider it, is the other side of the room has no obstructions in it whatsoever. And most people say, well, it's wired for an oven there, or there's a pipe for the sink there. If you're changing a kitchen, it's a relatively small expense to remove a couple of wires or change a pipe in the overall scheme of things if you want to get it right. So to me, it looks like the right-hand side of the room is a lot more obvious to put the kitchen in there. Other people say, well, it's away from the utility room. But in my own house, the utility room is a good bit away from the kitchen. And if your kitchen is designed properly and has everything it needs in it, the utility room should be a laundry room, a separate function to what you need in the kitchen anyway. So, step 2, lay out the kitchen into 4 zones. And the 4 zones in the kitchen are very simply, number 1, food preparation, or food storage first of all, and then your food preparation, cooking and washing up. So they're the 4 basic steps in using a kitchen. So the first zone, the supermarket or the food storage. Generally that would be a fridge, a freezer, a pantry, food larder, and because they're all tall, big, bulky items, we put it at the back, away from the light as much as possible so it's not blocking light. So we put it there on the back wall. Zone number 2, preparation area. Now that can be anywhere. In this case, they wanted an island, so it's probably the best ideal place to have an unobstructed run of worktop, a nice big large island. Zone 3 was the cooking zone, and zone 4 was the wash-up area. So they're the 4 basic building blocks that we're going to work around in designing the kitchen. When we divided out the cabinets, that's generally the way the cabinets were. So some people don't understand 2D, so just have a 3D drawing of how that kitchen was actually worked. All the tall cabinets are there along the back. You have your fridge, your larder. And because we have to compromise sometimes with function and aesthetic, as we were talking about earlier, the oven is moved slightly into the food storage area, just so it looks better with one big tall bank of units instead of coming around the corner with the oven. So you will have some balances like that in your design. And then along the back wall, and you'll notice at the sink area up near this end, we step up the cabinets to give an extra little bit of height over the sink area. It's important, if it's not at a window or at an island, that you step up the height area over the sink. So it worked pretty well from that's a typical of most people's houses in a shape like that, and with a little bit of imagination sometimes you can create a different shape or a different dynamic in a room. If you consider all the 12 points that were on the item list at the start, there's a very good spread of functions in the room, that if there's different people doing different tasks, it's pretty well spread out around the kitchen. It's not too congested. Whereas if you look at the original plan and the original shape that was in the room, there's an awful lot happening in little clusters and little corners here and there in the kitchen. There's not very much of a flow to it. So you will have your own list and your own functions and your own thing in your kitchen. So try and visualize where there will be, where's the cutlery drawer, where am I going to move from one area to the other. And hopefully that'll help in laying out your kitchen. That's the basic part of the kitchen design. If anyone has any questions, I'll take them on kitchen design now, or I'm going to talk about materials and doors and things like that. Okay, I'll just move on to doors and the different benefits of doors. Is an island a must in a kitchen? An island is only a must if it suits your kitchen. A lot of people try and ram an island into the space that's there in the kitchen, but you always need a minimum of 1 meter around your island, and where you have a dishwasher or a drawer section, you need to allow a bit more space for moving down and opening out. So a lot of kitchens don't have room for an island, and it's not always practical. Sometimes a small breakfast bar works better than an island. Kitchen measurements. What the optimal size, it really depends. My mother-in-law has a very small kitchen. She loves it. The minimum width that you would need in a kitchen would be about 2.4 meters would be the minimum width you would need, and then for however long you need after that to be able to move freely between worktop and back to back, 2.4 meters. If you have cabinets that are 600 millimeters and 600 millimeters, it only leaves you 1.2 meters between them, and that's the minimum you would need to work between 2 rows of cabinets. I'm just going to give a brief rundown on materials for doors. At the starter end of the scale, you have vinyl wrap doors, or PVC or foil. An awful lot of kitchens use foil or PVC doors. For a quick turnaround and a cheap kitchen, and to transform the look of it very quickly, vinyl wrap work quite well because they look very smart. The disadvantage is you'll only get about 7 to 8 years out of a vinyl wrap door, where beside a dishwasher, where the steam comes out of the dishwasher, the the glue that holds the vinyl wrap to the MDF, it tends to peel away. Also beside a hob or a cooker, it dries out the glue in the wrap, and a lot of people, I'd say, nodding to know that it's happening in their kitchens, the foil peels. But that will happen with every vinyl wrap kitchen. So if you're doing up a house to sell, or you have your 5-year plan you're going to move, then I think a PVC kitchen is a good idea. But if you're hoping to have the kitchen for a longer term, it's not a good idea to use a foil wrap kitchen. You could use a laminate material, it's more durable and tougher, but you see the edging.
You're one of 50 stores, and actually that was a good risk to go to Drogheda instead.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
paid off because it kind of had a little bit of exclusivity.
Yeah, Drogheda is now the biggest granted in Drogheda.
And when they're in your room, they dry out at different rates. You're going to get little fine little hairline cracks in the paint because the paint generally doesn't move with the timber. With MDF, it's one solid piece, so you don't get these hairline cracks, but generally the edges on MDF can be a little bit furry. They're not as nice as a solid wood edge, and they can take in a little bit of moisture on the edges if they're not sealed properly. So what I would recommend, if you are getting a painted kitchen, if you can get the kitchen in a solid wood, get it primed and have it in the kitchen in the room for 2-3 months so that acclimatizes to the room, and then get a hand painted finish on it. Then the timber shouldn't be moving so much after that, and that should eliminate any cracks that you get in the timber. There's other materials you can use. Veneer, if you want a solid wood look but in a slab door, you could use a veneer, because in a kitchen a large piece of timber can warp or twist in a kitchen. If you want a modern high gloss finish, the best material I think to use is acrylic. Acrylic it's like a resin, and it can be got in high gloss or in satin, but if it gets a mark, it's the same color underneath, so it's a lot more durable and it doesn't peel or crack over time. They are maybe 10-15% over the price of a vinyl, but for long term I think they're a far better solution. You could also go with a lacquered door, and lacquered look very well, but they're also susceptible to being chipped as well, so if there's kids or a kitchen gets a lot of use, maybe lacquered is not the best solution either. Particularly if you're painting colours, because underneath it's a different colour primer or the door, so the marks show up a lot more. And other materials, solid wood. The only thing about solid wood, and I'll move on to the next one for this, if you are getting a solid wood kitchen, most people tend not to think about what the side panels or the end gables are in. A lot of time the door is solid wood and the end gables are a melamine material that it looks like oak, and it looks perfect the day it goes in, but within 6 months, a year, as your oak or walnut or cherry or maple kitchen ages and goes a little more golden in colour, the melamine stays the same, and the plinth and the sides, and you get this two-tone colour. Particularly in a light kitchen like maple, you get the doors are more orange and it's white around the edges. So the important thing, if you are getting a solid wood kitchen, would be that the end gables would be the same material as the door, that they would all age at the same time. And for the plinth around the bottom, I would always recommend an aluminium plinth for 2 reasons. Number one, that it's not going to change colour, and number two, for water, if you're mopping a floor or you get any leaks or anything like that, the aluminium plinth is an awful lot better, so there's no timber touching the ground soaking up moisture. On carcass material, you can use chipboard, MDF, plywood, solid, but the most important thing is the thickness of the carcass. Because if you have a skinny carcass that's 14-15 millimeters thick, you can only use a very short screw in that. And if you have a heavy door or a big door hanging on that carcass over time, and you'll notice older kitchens, some of the doors go out of line a little bit at the top. It's because there's too much weight leaning a bit on a small screw. So if you get a thicker carcass, 18-20 millimeters, something like that would be, in the long term, a lot better for your kitchen as well. And the edging type. Instead of the yarn-on tape, if you ask for a PVC edge or an ABS, it's also called, it's like a hard plastic edging. And again, that won't peel. You know, sometimes if you're cleaning down a shelf in a kitchen, the tape can come a bit loose at the edge. So if it's an ABS edge, that's not going to come loose. And again, it's more durable in the long term to have it. And drawers, just a note about drawers. There's a lot of people talk about different brands or different names on drawers. The most important thing on a drawer is the load capacity in the drawer. What's the weight that it can take that the runners move efficiently? If it's a small drawer like a cutlery drawer, it needs to be about a 20 kilo load bearing drawer. But if you're putting in wide big pot drawers, big drawers for holding plates and pots, I would suggest you'd need a minimum of 50 kilo load bearing drawer in the big drawers to last in the long term as well. About 50 kilos I would recommend for that. And these are all questions you should put to your kitchen manufacturer, and I'm sure they can all do it, as long as they know that the spec that you're looking for, and also if you're comparing between different people and prices, that you know what you're comparing and what you're going to get at the end as well. There's no surprises. On worktops, just briefly, it's basically you pay for what you get with worktops. On laminates start at maybe 300, 400, 500 euro for a kitchen, and they're very good. They're improving the whole time to different edging shapes. The problem with laminates in the past, they used to be post-formed on the front edge, so you'd have a round front edge, and if you cut the sides, they'd have a square edge. But now they're mostly done with all square edge in the Formica top, so it does look a little bit better. You don't get the round and the square. The next step up, you can use solid wood, but solid wood has pros and cons and doesn't suit every kitchen. The next step after that is granite, and granite it's a lot more expensive. You're talking maybe 2,000 euro plus for a kitchen to be done in granite. I like granite, looks fantastic, but the only issue with granite in the light colours, it tends to draw in stains. If you have oil, a bottle of oil or wine or something like that, sometimes it can draw in the stains of the oil, particularly around the hob area. If you get the lighter colours like Venetian gold or granite tops like that, you might notice a greeny hue if you keep leaving the oil bottle down the same place. It sucks in the colour. So if you want a light colour worktop, the most durable and most long-lasting top you can use is quartz. Quartz it's a man-made material. It's crushed aggregate and stone mixed with a little bit of resin and different dyes and an antibacterial surface. And if you want a light colour top that you can put your hot pots on, that you can cut and chop on, that is the most durable material you can use. Now it is a little bit hard if you have it at a breakfast bar area and you leave a cup down on it, you'll hear that clangy noise. It's quite hard. So if you're in a kitchen and if you have quartz on all the working areas, maybe use a solid wood part near the breakfast bar or something like that. It's a little bit softer for sitting at. Other materials, solid surface, it's also known as resin, or different brands would be Hanex or Corian or Velstone. They're sheets of resin that are stuck together and buffed out, so there's no joins. You can mould into the sink, mould into the hob and up the wall. For cleaning, it's very, very easy clean because there's no joints anywhere. They are quite expensive. They're even dearer than granite, and they're not as heat resistant as quartz would be. The potential to scorch them with a hot pot is there also, but for hygiene reasons, they're very clean, neat top. Also, we're getting asked a lot more for stainless steel. Stainless steel worktops are extremely practical. The only downside to them are the little hairline scratches that appear in them when you clean them. And there's nothing you can do. They will appear very quickly once you start cleaning them. But if you get over the thing about the hairline scratches, in every other area, the steel is the best worktop. Easy clean, easy prep on. You can't mark it with hot pans and whatnot. So there's pros and cons to everything, and you do pay for what you get with worktops, unfortunately. So, splashback materials. Sorry. Yes, granite transformations, I think people call them. You can get it put over your worktop. There's pros and cons to that. You get a lot of joins in those because you are wrapping around. You have a join at the front and the back, and they're in smaller sections. But other than that, it is nice. And I don't know if you can use an undermounted sink with those. It might be a problem using the undermounted sink. You might have to use an overlay sink with them, so it doesn't look quite as sharp as using the undermounted sink. But it's a good solution. But I don't know what the cost factor is, but if there's not much in it, I would certainly think it's better to take out the old top and put in a new one. If there's not much in it, but I don't know. Just on splashbacks, with most worktops you can get a little upstand that's 4 or 6 inches high, and that's generally enough all around the edge of the kitchen for when you're cleaning down your kitchen once the first 4 or 6 inches you're not hitting the wall, as you clean it down, that generally does. The only problem is when you come to the hob area or the sink area, sometimes you need the splashback to go a bit higher. So what do you use? You can use acrylic, something like that. That's a shiny reflective material. You can use glass. Glass is great. The only problem is you have to think about sockets. Now, you can cut socket holes out of glass, but if you do, it can't be toughened and tempered glass, because you can't cut out holes in tempered glass. So that means it's safety backed or laminate glass, which means it can get damaged. If it gets a belt of a pot or a pan or whatever, it can crack. It's not going to fall out on top, but it will crack. So if you do want a coloured glass or a glass backsplash, I recommend if you can move the sockets onto a side wall or underneath the wall units or something like that, then get a toughened tempered glass. It'll last a lot much longer as well. Stainless steel is a nice option as well. Sometimes it can be a little bit clinical, depends what look you want to go with. Or tiles. At that particular kitchen there, we did use floor tiles in it because you've less grout lines. The problem with tiles is all the grout lines in it. So if you can use a couple of big floor tiles, sometimes it can look better. Other than that, accessories, corner units. There are 3 basic types of corner fitting you can use. The cheapest one are the carousel baskets that just spin around in the corner. You can't get much of a load bearing on them. They'll do for a couple of light items that you can put into it. If you want to put in pots and pans or heavier, bulkier items, this thing with the really lame name, Magic Corner, it has it's 4 wire baskets, but they take a lot of weight in storage. If you want to store pots and pans in a corner, it's a really good solution. Other than that, there's one called Le Mans. It's like an S shape, like the Le Mans racetrack, and it kind of goes in like an S shape into the corner. They're very good for storage. They have a solid base, so you can put smaller items on them like bottles and jars and things like that, and they move very smoothly. The disadvantage is you lose quite a bit of the storage space because it is angled to fit into the corner unit. So you should know what you want to store in the corner before you pick the corner fitting. It'll depend which one is best for you.
Taking place here at the ODS, at the Ideal Home exhibition show, brought to you by Permenant TSB. We'll have a couple of more presentations before we wrap up at 5 o'clock this evening. Now, as you know, throughout the day we've been discussing everything from insulation to kitchens to doors to floors and so on. One area we haven't focused on at all is the whole area of seating and I suppose the concept of customised made sofas. Well, one man who's certainly in that area is Jerry Wilson of Bespoke Sofas, and he joins me now. Jerry, Bespoke Sofas. Explain what Bespoke Sofas are or is.
Oh, certainly. Good afternoon, Ken. What we do is we manufacture sofas to the exact specification of any client's demands. They simply call to the showrooms. We have 2, one in Drogheda and a brand new one just launched last week in Dunleary in Dublin. And you simply pick the design you want and we manufacture it to your exact spec.
And when you say you pick the design you want, do you present people with a catalogue and say, well, you can either have A, B or C or X, Y or Z, or do people go in and say, I want a particular sofa, but I don't want an armrest there, but I do want an armrest there, or I want a high headrest or a low headrest, or what way does it work?
Right. Well, the way we've set our company up is literally that we manufacture the frames right from the beginning. So you can actually come in and experience the sofas themselves rather than just working from a booklet or a tablet. You literally come to the showroom, sit in the sofa you prefer, and from there then we tailor. You might tell me as a tall person you wanted a little longer in the seat, you want a different filling to suit your back posture, or how high you want the headrest. Everything is completely tailor-made.
So the sofa is made entirely to your own specifications?
Absolutely. We offer probably upward of 100 different designs of couches. Everything from sofa beds are available. We manufacture in leather, fabrics. You actually choose the fillings, even right down to the leg style. Even the width of the arm can be tailor-made to fit the room and the person exactly. It takes exactly 14 days from date of order to date of delivery.
So traditionally, the sofa manufacturer would make the design that he or she felt the customer might like. But in your case, it's the other way around. The customer is telling you what they want.
Indeed. Well, it's their money. You know,
Yeah.
we kind of went about it the other way around, definitely. We would rather wait for instruction from you, but we give you guiding suggestions. And we can even do home visits if the client needs some really particular difficult room addressed. We can call out to their home and offer in-house advice.
Yeah, I know that one of the problems, because I had this problem myself recently in that I moved house, and what fitted in house one didn't fit in house two, and what gets round one door doesn't get round another door. So is this becoming a common problem where people will say, look, I want you to build a sofa for me because the standard sofa won't fit in?
Yeah, indeed. A lot of the standardized sofas, I suppose, are through the bigger groups where you have chains. Whereas with the more bespoke hands-on service that we do, you can literally have them altered to any home. We're not having to deal with container sizes, so because we're making them in Navan, we simply have to put them in the trucks and bring them down the road, so it's easier for us to alter things right on the ground when you order.
Now, you mentioned there that you've opened up a new store in Dunleary. Is that, if you like, reflective of the fact that there's a sense that things are picking up in the economy?
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, I mean, you don't just open stores willy-nilly or lightly. There was some real consideration put into it. But with the extension boom, people are not necessarily moving home. They're finding value in staying put and extending. A lot of people are doing L-shaped extensions on the back of their home, so naturally that falls right in our lap. They can simply come in and have us tailor the sofa to any size of extension that they feel is suitable, and we can cater to that. So we're responding to the market's response to growth.
And the fact that since what, about 2008, 2009, there was a collapse in the economy, I mean, I'm sure the sofa business wasn't, if you like, immune from tough times.
Absolutely, you couldn't be more correct. Thankfully, we didn't get ahead of ourselves. We're a small local firm. We employ about 16 people in total, so we were able to hang in there through good service and mostly word of mouth. We never got ahead of ourselves expanding too quickly, and now we're responding quite quickly. We're able to respond quite quickly because we've been around a while, we're established, and we've got the same solid team there. And of course, good service leads to repeat business from other clients, and we're at a point now where it's starting to get ahead for us a little bit.
Making sofas to, if you like, made to measure and customized to the customer's likes and dislikes, is this becoming a trend for the future?
I believe so. People are more savvy than they've ever been before. The Irish shopper now is really becoming aware of what's available to them. Of course, the internet has a huge amount to do with that. Social media and networking and so on, people are now realizing that they can have what they want for their money. And people are willing to travel further and look longer than ever before. So if we can cater to their demands and react quickly and offer them a really fast turnaround time, I think that's one of our strengths. It only takes us 14 days, which is unheard of in Ireland, to manufacture and design and deliver any couch that a client might want. The average industry waiting time right now is anywhere from 6 to 8, right out to 18 weeks if they're coming in from China, which is unfortunately a big market for us.
Well, on that very point, I was going to ask you, imports of furniture, indeed imports of electrical goods from Asia is proving to be a competitive issue for everybody in all sectors of Irish business. Is it a serious problem for you?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that people have become expectant of very, very low prices, but equally they have learned I believe, over the last this is our opinion, over the last 5 years, that the lower price points also reflect lower quality. They just don't stand the test of time. And when money got tight during the recession, people just didn't have that expendable throwaway cash. So people are now reverting to buying Irish-made products where the quality is absolutely guaranteed to be higher.
Sure. And the fact that when builders, for example, build houses, they might build, we'd say, 100 houses in an estate, and all the furniture in all the houses is exactly the same. Is there any sign that the builders are coming to people like you and saying, look, I want that particular type of sofa in house number 1 and a different type of one in house number 2 and so on?
Yeah.
Is that happening?
Absolutely. If a builder has four model types of home, a 3-bed semi, a 4-bed detached, naturally they're going to need different requirements to sell their product, because every show house, they want it to look its absolute best. We're working with quite a few builders, and we're getting a lot of requests from around the country. People who are now discovering us through various means, through interior designers, architects are now coming to me saying, can you make me something that's going to make this scheme look its absolute best? And because we can manufacture anything they want, it's proving popular, and it's helping us with our own growth.
For a man like yourself, who I imagine is from Dublin, what was the attraction of moving up to Drogheda in County Louth?
Well, house prices. I'm originally from North Dublin in Artane, and when I came back from the States some years ago, I found that I was priced out, and I went looking for value. And naturally, when I went to Drogheda and found the house price value and I saw the sizes of the houses, I started thinking, well, how can I best offer a service here where I live? And we set about doing that. And we started with 2,500 square foot. And within 5 years, we're at 10,000 square foot. And now we've had to expand again into the Dublin market, and we're going to go chasing the recovery.
Well, now you operate in the greater Dublin area, you know, Louth,
Indeed,
Meath,
yes.
Kildare, Wicklow and Dublin itself.
Indeed.
Is any of your business at all coming from the regions where the recession has, if you like, hit harder?
I suppose by the very bespoke nature of my business, the product price, I suppose, is that a little bit higher. But equally, we're seeing a resurgence, especially in Cork. And we're getting a lot of orders from Galway and as far away as Sligo. So there is movement. There is movement.
Are there many people doing what you do elsewhere in the country?
There are a few that we would like to consider reputable, companies that we will be aware of, but not a terrible amount. No, it's difficult for the big companies to respond in the way that we can. They're geared up for churning out furniture on a production line style. They're just not able to react to the style choices that people want as readily as we are.
I suppose, and correct me if I'm wrong, that sofas like kitchens and like beds and so on, they go through phases where a particular design is in and then it fades out and some new design comes in. Are you getting that with the offers and the requests that you're getting?
Yeah, there's a colour called greige, which is the new trend. It's a mixture of beige and greys, kind of linens. It's this buzzword that's going around the industry. It seems to be the popular trend at the moment. Very neutral, understated colours and tones. Equally, style-wise, people are going for simpler, cleaner lines that give them longevity.
Okay, Jerry, we're going to leave it there. I want to thank you very much indeed for coming. And that's Jerry Wilson there from Bespoke Sofas, based in Drogheda and Dún Laoghaire. We've got about another half an hour to go before we wrap it up, but there's a presentation taking place down in one of the many theatres here at the Ideal Home Show, the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show, I might add. And this particular presentation is titled How to Get the Most Out of Your Design.
Hello. Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Fergus Flanagan. I'm an architect, and today I'm going to tell you how to get the most from your design. Okay. So just to give you a bit of a background on myself, I left Ireland when we had 22% unemployment. I went to Berlin, where they took a wall down, and I thought that'd be a great place to go, as they had to rebuild half a country. Like a lot of people who've gone abroad now at the moment, they will return, and they'll return with a bit of knowledge that hopefully they'll be able to bring back to everybody else. So one of the things about being away for the last 12 years was when I got back to Ireland, I noticed quite a few things, and I was able to see them from a foreigner's perspective. And I couldn't believe what I seen from a foreigner's eyes, especially in relation to architecture. And I thought, this is crazy, what's going on in Ireland at the moment. So I thought the Irish people are absolutely mad, lunatics, fruitcakes, and I know what you're thinking, how's this guy up here speaking shite to us like that? He'll actually agree with me once in about 5 minutes' time. So the question is, does anybody know what this is? And I won't make this too technical, so I made an easier slide. It's called the sun. And we don't get a lot of it in Ireland. More of an Irish context with a bit of cloud in the background. In fact, that's more of an Irish context of an Irish summer and typical Irish weather. It rains, and it rains a lot in Ireland, and that was the thing that really hit me when I got back to Ireland. I couldn't believe how much it rained. And I couldn't believe that we actually turned our back on this whole massive thing that affects us every single day. And it rains a lot. The problem is that Irish people are very social. There's so many good things about Irish people that But the problem is our weather doesn't suit what we like to do, which is barbecue and be social. And we'll do every sort of length to make sure the barbecue goes through, but it's absolutely crazy. What we tended to do in Ireland was design houses that when it rains, you stay in. And to me, that's just gross stupidity. We even have rock festivals in the stuff. It's just absolutely nuts. I know, depressing, isn't it? But I got some good news for you. There's a solution. Why don't we design houses around the rain? And I'm going to actually introduce you to this because it's actually quite simple, inexpensive, and actually can live in a climate. You should have been doing this for hundreds of years, never mind starting now. So instead of living in this, which is a house that when it rains you stay in, you can live in this, which is a house we built in Wexford for 140,000, complete with kitchen, tiles, everything. Outdoor fireplace, covered terrace on it. And it means that if you want to have a barbecue, you can actually invite your family and friends around and have a barbecue. What our clients find, we started doing this stuff 7 years ago, and what our clients are reporting back to us is they're starting their summers earlier and they're ending them later. And they can actually have family barbecues. And the normal complaint we hear is, but it's cold. And that's why we put in the external fireplace. And that's as simple as it is. This square houses a fire grate with a big chimney and place your logs and bits and pieces on the side. It's no more complex than that. So now you're outdoor, you're dry, and you're warm. And here's an example of one we did out in Malahide, where we have an outdoor fireplace, covered glass terrace, and it's a barbecue. Okay, so as you can see, all that was involved there was actually putting in a couple of angle irons and creating this barbecue. So if you take that out and you put in a fire grate, now it's a fire. So we're not talking about any great expense here, we're just talking about something with a twist on it. And the ideas keep coming, oh yeah. Since we're outside and we're having a nice glass of wine under a covered terrace with our nice fire lighting, why don't you spend 350 quid and buy a projector? Okay, you need a wall, okay? So now you can sit outside and watch a movie. This is the type of stuff we should be doing in Ireland. This is the type of stuff we should always have been doing in Ireland. As I say, we should have had the best covered terraces in the world. So what about all the rain? So that's only one half of the subject. We told you how to get rid of this stuff, but what do we do with it? Well, this has been the solution to date. And to be honest with you, it's a rubbish solution. There's potential here. Sorry, I don't know how this slide got in there, but anyway, it says, I fail to believe that we've charged for a water in a land where ducks have to wear hats. Sorry, that's obviously a slide that slipped in there somehow. No, but in real terms, we use it. We can use this water, okay? And not just, obviously you can have what's called the grey water system. You put it in barrels or whatever, store it, use it for your toilets. We can do a lot more. This is a house we done. Very low budget. And what we decided to do was, we had a JCB driver out there. We marked out this feature lake. The water in that lake is actually fed off the roof, okay? So it's oxygenated, it's fresh water, and we're getting it every time it rains, which is practically every second day. Now the water then goes into an overflow pipe. So it only goes up so high, and then the top of it is skimmed off and goes into an overflow pipe and goes into a natural drainage system, okay? But what that means is, the water never turns stagnant and it's always filtered. So this pond needs no treatment, no mechanics, no nothing. It has happened naturally. So I'm going to go on, I'm going to talk about various different aspects in your house. And good design is not about throwing loads of money into something. It's just good design. It's about thought. And that's why you pay an architect to come on board with your project. It's the little twist they can make on something. It's not about putting loads of money into something. So maximising sunlight. I got a phone call about 2 years ago. Very strange phone call, to be honest with you. I was from a doctor. He had a lovely big Georgian house, and he said, listen, there's something wrong with my house. I can't tell you what it is, but can you come out and tell me? So I went out and I said, don't tell me what it is. I walked around his house and I said, are you staying in this tiny little room while you have this massive big house? And he goes, yeah, how did you know that? And I said, it's the sun. Everybody gravitates to the sun naturally. And you'll often find that people will be in a tiny little room, everybody will be in a tiny little room, while there's a great big house and the rest of it. So sunlight is everything. And there's loads of ways and loads of tricks how to get that in. So in this particular instance, what we did was, this is a kitchen extension we did onto someone's house, just a box, but it's a cleverly designed box. So to start off with, we start the pitch at a lower level underneath the windows, so it's not interfering with the light from the windows upstairs. And it pitches up. But if you look what it does, it gives you a double height space in a space that shouldn't have a double height space. And then we do that simple thing of pull it a little bit further forward, and now you got a covered terrace. Again, now you're able to barbecue. And that's it from a side perspective. Again, there's little tricks like you put a bit of stone on the outside, you pull it in. But here's another trick. If you've got a house and you've got windows, you've dislocated the garden. The minute you bring that down to the floor, your eye follows it and you bring the garden back in. And simple little things. All that's involved here is 2 steel beams holding this whole thing together. And what we've done is you put in 4 large sliding glass windows that pull apart in the center. And we've totally brought the whole back garden into this thing. There's a video of this on our stand there that anyone who wishes to can go and have a look at later stage. That's it in 3D, okay? So this is what we started off with. This is the dialogue we have with our clients. We've got so advanced now as architects that we actually are able to design houses for people, which we are in Hong Kong. And we've only met them once. Because everything we do now is in 3D, and we got this technology now that you can actually fly through your house on your phone, your laptop, or your iPad without having any of the software that we have on our computer. So we're able to do that at this stage. And good communication is essential in getting what you're looking for. That's it from above. Now, you can see the 3 windows at the top first floor there. Light will actually go back into a building 6 meters and then it'll die off, okay? So it's essential to get light as far back as you can, close to that back wall, and get these bursts of light in there. And that's the interior of that space now. So you can see the V-Lux there at the back there, giving a huge blast of light there. And in essence, that's how you can get light into spaces that technically shouldn't have light. This is another building. This is out in Malahide. That's the first one I told you in terms of the outdoor barbecue area. And this is what we did inside. The clients wanted a feature fireplace. So we said, listen, if we were to make this fireplace slightly larger, we can get a second flue in, which means that we can get 2 fireplaces out of the 1 chimney. You're talking about a couple of €100 here, nothing more than that. So this is a fireplace on the inside and there's one on the outside. And this is very, very important. We start designing from the minute you walk in your front door. So if you walk in your front door and your hall's dark, that shouldn't happen. So in this one, this was a dark hall. And what we did is we changed the doors, the double doors there, to glass. So as you come through your front door, the first thing you see is this beautiful fire lighting in winter. And that's what welcomes you home. And that's the sort of level we're thinking about. If you go up the stairs, we're thinking about what you're looking at. Everywhere you move through a house, we're thinking about what you're doing, what you're looking at. Here's another example about as you enter a hall, you should not be stopped by the hall. Your eye should go on much further, see through and beyond. And this is actually a dormer bungalow, believe it or not. And we actually took out a bit of space, took out a few joists and created this lovely double height space in that building. So what about stairs? Stairs are great. You can do loads of really cool things with them. Depends on how much money you have. On this particular one, we decided to play a game where you got heavy stone on the walls. And what we did is we went to the absolute parallel opposite to that, where we got glass and this thing floating, fixed onto the wall. Here's the different stairs in the same house. Again, the same idea where we have this glass panel that holds the whole thing together and these floating stairs. And from underneath you see this thing. So it's about the transfer of light and light bouncing around the place. Light is everything in a house. Here's another stairs. Now, this was actually down in Rathgar. And we were brought in, what you're looking at there is the door to the WC in front of you. And we were brought in because we were to revamp this house. And what we wanted to do was create something very inexpensively that was going to give them a little bit of a wow factor here, okay? So all it is, what they used to have was the usual stuff, the Hoover, whatever, bit of coats and whatever underneath the stairs here. Now, there are very good solutions here, and I see them here in terms of those pull-out drawers, and they're very, very effective in terms of storage. But in this particular instance, they wanted to give a fairly dark part of the house some sort of wow factor. So all we did here was we created a wine cellar. And all that is it's obviously a series of boxes to hold the glasses, some slate on the floor with some lights in it, glass door and glass panel. The whole thing cost €750 to put in, and it just created a little bit of a difference in a hall that was very, very dark. Incidentally, for all the gentlemen in the audience, be careful of the wife talking to the architect, because she specifically asked me to strategically design the whiskey to be on the right-hand side of the thing, because he couldn't reach it and he'd have to send the kids in for it, so be wary of that. Double height spaces. Double height spaces work on a multitude of different levels. This is obviously this is actually, I had a woman come to me earlier on today, and she said she wanted to do a kitchen extension. And I said, okay, that's fine. And I said, this is a kitchen extension. And she goes, oh, no, my house is in a housing estate. And I says, this is a kitchen extension in a housing estate. And I said, where do you live? And she goes, Clonee. And I says, this is a kitchen extension in a housing estate in Clonee. She actually happened to live around the corner, and she couldn't believe that this was actually, in a suburban dwelling place, So again, in a setting where you think there's no way we can get a double height space, we can do it. Here's another one where this one is actually out in Kildare. It's a house we designed out in Carton House, and as you can see, we got a lovely double height space there. We got a see-through fire. You'll see it down below. It's actually between the dining area and the sitting lounge area at the back there. So they actually they contribute something to a house, which is very hard to describe. You really need to be in the space in terms of the volumetric experience. This one here is a house we designed. It's actually a mezzanine, so it's sort of like a floating platform. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to have the computers there where they could actually do a little bit of work, but be in communication with anyone else in the house down below, So lots of different solutions for it. Another one where you're looking down in the dining room space. Walls and doors. Every single element in your house can have something. I remember people saying to me, oh, I want a wow factor in the house. You shouldn't have a wow factor. You should have loads of wow factors. And this is just one example where we were brought in. We had the master bedroom had an ensuite, and then they had another boys' bedroom here. And what they wanted to do was convert the attic, have the master bedroom up there. We'd have 2 different boys' bedrooms, and we had the space in the middle to play with. And they said they wanted something there, So what we designed was a sliding bookshelf with lots of storage in there for the clothes, the toys, everything in there. And obviously what we do as architects is we design things, we go through the whole process, get the whole thing built, and then we go back 6 months later to do the final snag. And I asked them, how are they getting on with it? And they says, the boys love it. They're forever bringing their friends in and playing hide and seek, and they can't find them. So sometimes it is about adding certain layers to your house, because what we do is we don't create houses, we create homes, okay? So the more you can actually put into these things, the more you're gonna love them. Flexibility and double doors, okay? This is the same house that had the pitch in Clonee, okay? And the whole idea with this is that we had sliding doors that slid into the wall. Now, acoustically, open spaces are fine, but if you're trying to watch TV in them and someone's banging pots and pans, it can be a bit of a problem. So you do need acoustic barriers. And what we did with this particular one was we opened up the TV room at the front with sliding doors. So if you wanted to shut it off, you could. But if you had large family gatherings there, you could actually open the whole thing up. So the whole house, the whole ground floor footprint of the whole house was opened up for large social gatherings. Or as I say, you can shut it off. And that flexibility will really help you for various different occasions you're going to have in the house. This is an interesting story. We had a couple, we designed this house from scratch. The couple actually had an argument in the boardroom, and the argument was actually about his fish tank. He wanted to bring his beloved fish tank with him, and she didn't. And we asked him, look, what's the problem with the fish tank? And she says, he keeps making a mess on my floor. He's cleaning the fish tank, it's spilling on my lovely cream rugs, and the fish flakes are going everywhere. So I said, okay, if that's the problem, we'll design it out. So what we did was, this leads onto a hall. There's a door in at the back of that fish tank from the hall, and it can service this thing from the hall. So everybody's happy. So it doesn't matter what the problem is. To become an architect, it takes 7 years, and they train you to think outside the box, and that's what we're good at doing. So anyway, as I said, there's a multitude of things you can do with your walls. Bathrooms. This is a house we designed as a little private courtyard at the back, and you can have a bath outside if you wish, or Here's another one we did at Carton House, and it's just a nice feature bath, free floating, and a nice walk-in shower in the back. So bathrooms really have potential to do something. And one of the things we also look at is your downstairs toilet, okay? So in your downstairs toilet, that's actually the most used toilet in your house, and it's the one that tends to be the most neglected. So if your guests come, that's the one they're going to use. And it's actually worth putting a little bit of money in there and doing something a bit funky on it that people aren't expecting. So they'll ask you, where's the toilet? Maybe it's under the stairs, maybe it's wherever. But it's really worth doing something a bit crazy there. I don't know, maybe the ground has glass on it and you got fish floating under your feet, or the tiles are a bit mad, or whatever. But it is really worth having a bit of fun with that room. Kitchens, pantries, utilities, and laundry. Now, I specifically separate those elements, okay? Because the engine of a kitchen is the pantry, okay? And the pantry is not what you think it is. It's not a bag of spuds and loads of tins on the shelf. A modern pantry is a series of boxes. And all it is if you want to make a blended fruit drink or whatever, you go in, you take out the blender, you use it, wash it, put it back. If you want to make a toasted sandwich, you take out that gadget, use it, wash it, put it back. Now, all the stuff that bunged up your kitchen, even your casserole dishes, whatever, they go on top shelves, okay? So pantries are the engine of your utility room. It's not the bag of spuds anymore, okay? They can really free up your kitchen and free up the way you want to use your kitchen, okay? Your laundry. Your laundry has nothing to do with your kitchen. Absolutely nothing. You take your bed sheets and your clothes from your bedrooms and you bring them to your kitchen. You wash them and you bring them back. So if you have a bit of leverage, technically that should be near the bedrooms, okay? If you have some leverage on it. And then there's the idea of a boot room. I worked over in the UK on some very, very large manor houses, etc. And I was introduced to the idea of a boot room. And to be honest with you, at the start, I wasn't really sure what a boot room was. I didn't know if it has guns and where they had the pheasants or whatever. So I said to my client, I said, okay, what have you got in your boot room? And he goes, boots. I said, yeah, but, you know, is there fridges? No, it's a boot room. I said, so all you have in this room, and the room was actually almost this size. I was like, was boots? And I said, yeah, this is my boot room. But anyway, taking it and putting it on a much smaller scale, they actually do make sense. When we're designing houses from scratch, people will have, you know, rugby tops and whatever, you know, muddy things, coats, shoes, boots, whatever. And it does make sense to separate them if you can do it, okay? And then a utility is a separate function again. So if you can think about them separately and separate the functionality of these things, they'll work a lot better for you. So anyway, obviously there's 1,000,001 different types of kitchens. This is quite a contemporary one. This is a little bit of a mix between a traditional whatever. Not 100% sure on the bar seats, to be honest with you, but anyway. And then this is just a house we did, and I'm showing you this for a very good reason. If you look at the top two pictures on the right-hand side, that's exactly the same hall, okay? You can see before and after, and it's just a matter of changing some doors to glass doors, and you can borrow light from the front of the house to the back of the house, and then putting in something quite light underneath, and you know, you can bounce light off it. If you look at the top left-hand photo, that's before, and this is the building afterwards. And it's not about throwing money into your design. It's about design. Everything's about design, you know? So on that, we have actually a covered terrace to the left-hand side there. And the building was raised up anyway. So what we decided to do was put some trap doors on that, and his golf clubs are down there, and there's a hose down there, and there's old storage down there. In essence, that's his garden shed. Now, what's the cost of that? It's 4 hinges. So it's not about pumping loads of money into something. It's about clever twists. This is incidentally, this is inside. So as you can see the quality of light in there, and that's what we do as architects. There's primary drivers. There's certain things you cannot change in a site. You can't change the sun. You got to work with it, okay? This is a different house. Same scenario where we had large glass sliders at the back, and again, all their storage is actually in that decking. All of it. They have no garden shed. Everything is down there. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, there's the entrance to the door. We lost, this is actually up in Temple Oak, we lost the box bedroom so we could get up to the attic. We were returning stairs, but we were able to get a lovely triple height space as you walk into it. If you look at the picture to the left-hand side of that again, it shows you a set of doors, and what you see is the garden, not the hall. So as you walk in the front door, your eye goes beyond. Many different architectural styles. Obviously, we design houses from scratch. This was a challenge. Now, I like a challenge as much as every man. But this is true. This was a house we were given, and our client said, well, what do you think? I said, to be honest with you, you're really challenging me now. I said, what do you want to do? And he said, well, I want to build a house on this site. And I said, well, you're not allowed. This area here is actually for locals only. All you're allowed to do is extend this existing building. And he goes, that's a pity because it's a listed building. And I said, well, hang on a second. That's after playing into your favor. I said, if this building's listed and we don't do something with it, it's going to fall into the ground. I said, you're after giving me a little gem here. So I went and I spoke to the planners and said, look, my client actually wants to build a house. He's not allowed, but he's allowed to do an extension. But if we don't do something here, this thing is lost forever. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring this back to its former glory, and we're going to design an extension to this thing, and we're going to create a modern Irish thatched cottage, okay? And we're going to use this as the palette of materials with which we're going to create this. So the new building is actually going to stem from this. So this is the end result. And what it is a curved roof thatched cottage. So we brought in a thatching expert, and he said to me, there's no way you can do that. The thatch will fall off. There's no way in the world you can do that. I've been doing it for 20 years. Not a hope in hell. And I says, we can. I says, no, not a hope in hell. You can't do it. I says, we can. I says, what we're going to do is we're going to get corrugated steel. We're going to bend it over. We're going to weld on little brackets, and you can fix your thatch to that. And he went, yeah, that'll work. And that's what it's about. It's about being able to think outside the box. And that's what we're good at doing. So from the front, it looks like it's a single-story building. We touched the existing building very, very lightly with a glass link. And then the back is actually two-story, and we got double height spaces in there and lots of cool things going on the inside of it. But when I was presenting this to the clients, they said, what about the original thatched cottage? And I said, well, listen, we design buildings around people. And my first question was, what is this house? And he says, well, it's our entertainment pad. We live up in Dublin. This is in North Wexford. And he says, we're going to bring friends down and just, entertain. And I says, well, this is what it is. You bring them down, you have your food, and then you say, let's go to the pub. You walk across your glass link, and you've got your own little pub there. And he went, perfect. So that's what it is. Again, loads of different architectural styles. This building we developed up, it's actually, we got some of them built at this stage. It's about getting the sunlight in from one side to the other. So you can see on this side, clearly we can get the sun in on this side. But how do you get it on the north side? And that's how we do it, with glass from above. We can even design you a strawberry to live in if you want to. So good communication is essential. There's a couple of team players here. And I see the client as the most important team member in designing their house. So we do everything in 3D. And they're able to fly along their building, as I said earlier on their phone, on their laptop, without us being there, okay? So good communication is everything. People worry about two things when they're starting a build project. Well, I like it, is the big one. And when you do it in 3D, they know they're going to like it before you even touch a single thing, okay? And then the second one is, will we go over a budget? Now that's easy to control, because you do checks the whole way along, so technically you shouldn't, okay? The third member, more fundamentally, is the builder, okay? We've got some very good builders that we work with a lot of the time. We've come across some very shite ones, okay? And builders will just build, okay? So be very, very careful and get a builder who knows what they're doing, okay? And who can read plans. So I'm going to finish up now. I'm just going to show you some examples of stuff actually built. And we have not doctored these in any way, okay? This is what tends to happen. And the reason I'm actually showing you is, in case you're thinking about doing direct labor, okay? We've seen it time and time again, okay? The electrician will come, but the chippy hasn't there, so the stud isn't there for him to put his stuff on, and there's a blame game. And it's very, very dangerous, because we've no control if there's no main contractor there. We've no one point of responsibility and say, you fix that. We have a contract, I want that fixed, okay? So these are actually real photos, okay? So instead of moving the post, they decided to build a road around it. So who's at fault there? You know? Not exactly wheelchair friendly, is it? And my absolute favorite. We do design sessions. That's what we do. We start off every project, and I hear it every single time. People say to us, I don't know what I can get for my money. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm really scared of asking a stupid question, okay? So what we did was we devised this thing where we actually come to your house, we design in your house, we're able to show you what you can get for your money. Not only are we able to design in your house and give you all the cool ideas and show you what to do, but we're able to budget cost that. And we're able to even answer questions you don't even know you should be asking, like, how long is the build? Do I have to move out? So the whole idea is that we get you to a position that you're informed. And that's the best way of starting any project, to start off in an informed way. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we're coming to the close of business here at the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show here at the RDS. Don't forget, of course, this show is on again tomorrow and bank holiday Monday. And as I've been saying throughout the day, if you're in the process of buying a house, or if you like renovating a house, or indeed building a house, well, I think this is the show for you. There's something here for everybody who has any interest at all whatsoever in developing and modernising their home. Okay, we're almost at the end of our coverage here from the RDS, but there's one particular report we want to bring you. It's about a new concept in conservatories, and our reporter Laura Butler has been down at the podology stand.
One of the first things I saw when I came into the Ideal Home Show here at the RDS were these pods, and I automatically thought, okay, this is something I can go to outer space in. I love this. It's what I want to get into. Ita, will you please tell us about podology?
Okay, well, Podology is an Irish-owned company. Our expertise is in garden pods, and we call ourselves Podology. They are contemporary designed, they're architectural by nature, and the function of them is really to extend the outdoors, indoors, or indoors, outdoors, so that people can use their gardens more regardless of the weather. So whether it's raining, whether it's very sunny, or whether it's very windy, they can use the gardens. Two of the models rotate, so you can actually follow the sun or get out of the wind or the rain. And this model that we're sitting in at the moment is the summer house. It comes with an up and over door. It has windows, it has solar panels, mood lighting, fully heated, nice comfy seating, would seat about 10 people, up to 10, and it can also come with a dining table as well as part of the package. Some people prefer it just to have the couches, and then other people prefer to have the table.
I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. Somewhere for all the family to go in the Irish weather. Doesn't matter if it's snowing outside, we can sit in here.
Exactly, exactly.
So who is in the market for something like this?
Well, the market is varied, really. We have people who are sort of 50 plus would be quite a substantial part of our market, but then we have young couples who've just moved into their houses. I think at the moment, because so many people are not moving, they're trying to make the most of their homes, and now people are looking at their garden as an extension of their home. So it's quite a wide variety of people who really enjoy our pods.
Is it almost an alternative to conservatory?
It is an alternative with a big difference. With the conservatory, naturally it's attached to the house. With the garden pod, you can place it anywhere in the garden that you wish, and perhaps find the sunniest spot, or maybe it's the shadiest spot. And also, it's not as expensive as a full conservatory, and it doesn't need planning permission.
It doesn't. That's a very key point, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of families and a lot of young kids looking to get in here over the weekend and have a look. When it comes to the design factor, can you really customise things and personalise them?
Yes, you can. There is a full colour chart that you can actually decide on a variety of colours, and also all of the seating is waterproof. It's fire retardant, which is very important, and very easily cleaned, just to wipe over with whatever you would use in your kitchen normally. So no problems with that, even with children with chocolate and sticky fingers and spilling drinks and all of that. Very, very easy to keep clean.
Perfect. We're in the summer house at the moment. You might just show me the other two if you wouldn't mind.
No problem.
I'll follow you.
Thank you.
So what do we have here?
This one is the rotating seater, and as the name suggests, it rotates. So it has a stop on it so that children can't continue to spin it. And you can follow the sun, or you can get out of the wind or the rain. Perfect for our Irish climate.
And does this retail something similar to the summer house?
No, this one retails at $9,750. The price includes installation, and all of our pods come with a full 10-year guarantee. And of course we have a very nice show price at the Ideal Homes show today.
Give a little bit of an insight. What's the show price?
Well, the show price would be up to €1,000 off any one of the pods.
It's a very good deal.
A very good deal, yeah.
Aisha, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
For those of us who do not get a chance to come along to the Ideal Home Show this weekend, is there a website?
Yes, there is, www.podology.ie, and we have a display area at Glenafton Downs, right beside Horkins Garden Centre, on your way down to Wexford. So we have most of the pods on display there.
Brilliant. Aisha, thank you very much and enjoy the weekend.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
There you are, that's our reporter there, Laura Butler, down at the Podology stand, just next to us right here at our presentation area here at the Ideal Home Show, brought to you by Permenant TSB. Laura's just making her way up to us right now. Don't forget, of course, that this show continues tomorrow and indeed on Bank Holiday Monday. And if you're in the business of buying a house, building a house, or indeed renovating an old house, I'm sure there is something here for you if you want to modernise or upgrade your home. Well, to assess the day that's in it, I'm joined now by our hard-working reporter, Laura Butler. Laura, you've been out and about yesterday and today. How would you sum up today?
Absolutely fantastic. Today was a lot busier. There were a lot more families on site. Everyone was wandering around. It was very hard to get around at some point because there were buggies, prams and all of that, kids wandering, looking to feast their eyes on absolutely everything that they could. But it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, if you're in the market for a house, if you're looking to upscale, renovate, like you say, design, start from scratch, there's just everything that you could possibly want and need here.
Did anything in particular, if you like, catch your attention?
Well, I really loved podology. That was one of my favourites. I really liked that whole concept of having an outdoor pod in your garden, and I just thought it was very innovative and something I would actually like to invest in the future once my family has grown up and flown the nest. But I also loved the colour barn because I like to upstyle myself. I like to get old furniture from, you know, an old antiques show or a craft fair, anything like that, and paint it from, you know, make it something totally different and unique to me. So bespoke interiors would have been something I would have been interested in as well, because they obviously sell the material if it's not just a settee, a couch or a sofa that you're looking to get them to cover for you. So I really, really enjoyed that. It's something that I would definitely come back to myself. Maybe tomorrow when my feet aren't as weary and aren't as tired, I might do that.
Understandably, a lot of exhibitors are displaying things like furniture, kitchens and beds and so on. But did you find that there's a very strong emphasis at this particular exhibition on the whole area of heat conservation in the home, the whole thing of retrofitting, the whole idea of energy efficiency?
Absolutely. I think we spoke to about 6 people, 6 different companies who are specialising in this and they're experts in their field. So when it comes to solar panelling, or it comes to new glass, something like that, or it comes to heat conservation in terms of what you would put in it to save energy, to make sure that all the heat is retained in the home in the winter time, and then when it's summer the house is left and it's cooler. So all of that technology, and there are new technologies. There are people here this weekend who are launching new windows, launching new types of fabrics, I suppose, if you would call it that, new materials as part of that kind of area.
Did you notice anything about the demographic here? Was it elderly couples, was it young couples, or was it a mixture?
There was a lot of young couples like myself, perhaps married or unmarried, and they're looking to start out. They're diving into this afresh and they don't really know what they want. So you see a lot of couples sitting down with architects, different construction companies, and going, right, this is what we want. We want a starter home, we want a family home, we want a place that's functional, we want a place that we can build onto if our family grows later on in the next 10 years. So there were a lot of young couples. I'd say there were probably a lot of young families as well. And then it kind of jumped a little bit to empty nesters, to people whose families have already up and left, and now they're looking to spoil themselves, perhaps with something like the podology or the cyclosage beds, something like that. So probably a bit of a mix.
Finally, if anybody is thinking of coming tomorrow or indeed Bank Holiday Monday, what advice would you give them?
The advice I would give them would be here very early. The doors open at 10 a.m. All the restaurants are opening at the same time as well, so come in, get yourself a cup of coffee, bring your walking shoes, be prepared to walk a lot, because you really do take your time going around to these exhibits, and you need the time to do it. Don't just come in here and expect to spend an hour or two. You want to come in here for the day and really make a go of it, because otherwise you won't get value for money.
Okay. Laura Butler, thank you very much indeed for joining us and indeed for all your hard work over the last 2 days. And that just about wraps it up from the Permanent TSB Ideal Home Show here at the RDS. We've certainly enjoyed bringing you our presentation since 10 o'clock this morning. So on behalf of all the team and myself, Ken Murray, until the next time, bye for now.